lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
hey y'all, hey, welcome back. It's complicated in real life. What do you say? JR Shine? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you can chat along with us as this show is getting more and more interesting. What's the weather like where you are? Drop it in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're in the States, the UK, Canada, let us know. Please let us know. How's everybody? JR, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. And welcome to everyone. Hope everyone's having a nice evening and all of that. Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, Aubrey.
Yeah, it's beautiful weather over here. Let me look over here. What's Alexa talking about? Oh my God, it shot up to 81. It was like 75, 76 when I took my walk earlier, but it's saying 81. So yeah, I love you guys. I am here podcasting inside my home rather than being outside in the open air in the beautiful sunny sky, the weather that we're having today here in Detroit, the home of the 2024 NFL draft. Yeah, that's right. That's us. Okay, what about you, Sean? What's the weather? How's the weather down there in Dallas?
The weather in Big D is 78 degrees. It has been up
Ooh,
to about 83,
nice.
84 today. So 78 degrees, nice and warm. Yeah.
Nice and warm. Sean says he
hmm
loves you guys too because he's here with us instead of outside and or on his boat because we know Sean got a yacht down there in Dallas.
I wish I had somewhere to put it, right?
Right?
Wish I had somewhere to put it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, we see you guys out here in the chat giving you all a shout out, getting you up on the screen as quick as I can. Hey Pandy, Maria. Guys, yeah, so just overall, go ahead and tell us while I'm getting this up on the screen. Tell us what you thought, Sean, starting with you. Tell us what you thought just briefly of this week's episode.
I'm still trying to get into the show.
Okay,
Trying
that's
to buy
fair.
into the premise of it. I don't know whether it's going to be one and done or it's going to be a successive show. As we talked earlier, it was filmed a couple of years ago, and so now it's just being aired. And so I don't know. Maybe it may catch on after a while, but the premise is a little bit off to me.
Okay. What about it? Like you don't know personally, or you don't like the idea that people have dated online and it took them so long to meet. What are you saying?
Yeah, that right there, that part, the latter part of it. I mean, particularly Shay and Josh, why date for 12 years and never meet each other? Like, come on now. And then the other one that both live in the same city. It's not like Los Angeles is that big. It's huge, but it ain't like it take you
Yeah, it
5 or 6
is
days to
actually.
get across. Yeah, it's not like it's like, impossible, but you live in the same city
Right.
and never come across each other. I ain't
Right.
buying
I
that.
think Right. Yeah. I think they said like 30 minutes apart, which I've heard some other people that live in that area say that 30 minutes apart could mean an hour and a half drive time, depending on when you go to meet each other. But when you stop and think about it, even if they had decided to meet at the halfway point, at a Starbucks for coffee or whatever, they could have found someplace halfway in the middle. And even at that, if it took them 45 minutes apiece, you're right. It's not that big a deal. It's really not that big a deal. But to be fair, in my own real life, I have talked to someone online for an extended period of time, online, over the phone, whatever, lived in different states and did not get together right away. And I think that was more so really when I look back on it, that was more by my choice. That was
Hmm.
more by my choice because the option was always for that person, from them to like pay for my airfare out and my stay there, or for them to come here. And in hindsight, I think it was my gut instinct telling me that was not a good situation. So it finally came to an end. So yeah.
Well, how about this though? How about this?
Hmm.
Okay, let's put aside 12 years aside. How about
Yeah,
this?
and I mean that wasn't 12 years, by the way. I'm not saying
No,
years.
I know. But how
Yeah.
about this? The oldest child I can understand is 13, but he got a child that's 3 years old.
Hmm.
But they've been in a relationship
Oh,
12 years.
well, now
Okay.
here's the thing. What is someone's definition of a relationship? Because honest to goodness, I think if we take relationship off of all of these couples and say they were just
They've been in
they
a
were just
ship.
talking, they were trying to build a bond or a connection. That's all I'm gonna call it. Because you can, even if you, I don't know how you can even call it dating, because in my mind, the clear definition of dating is that we're doing it in real life, right?
Yeah,
So, like,
mine
who's
too.
saying that? You know, I get that on the show they're actually trying to say they had a relationship for 12 years, but like you said, and you pointed out, he had a whole baby 3 years
Hmm.
back, which means that was while he was quote unquote in this relationship. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're right. You're
So
absolutely right.
it's at least 4 years you've been dealing with that woman. You have been dealing with that woman. So,
The child's
'cause
mother. Yeah.
their mother, yeah, because it took 9 months to carry the child,
Mm-hmm.
and then
True.
deliver the child in 3 months. So it's 3 years, 9 months at least.
Yeah, you're right about the math on that. You're right about the math on that. And how does that work out? Because in this episode, I
Yeah.
think it's in this episode, he says that the only way he wants any more children is if he has them with Shay. So, but now to be fair, I did the math. They're only
Mm.
30, 31 years old. She was only 18 when they started talking, to be fair. So I'm thinking that for her at 18, she's still at home with her parents. I'm thinking her parents probably didn't want her going halfway across the country to meet up with some random guy. But that's only good for a couple, 2, 3 years when you get
The
some
thing is,
autonomy and a
she's in
job.
Florida.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's in
And
Florida
he's
and he's
in
in Tennessee. It's not like you got. She's in Florida. He's in Tennessee. It's not like you got Texas between you. So I mean,
no,
Florida
but
is nowhere from Tennessee.
I'm gonna just say this as a I'm gonna just say this as a parent. I don't want my 18-year-old
Yeah,
kid tripping across the country. And see,
true.
now it's
You're right.
more. We fast forward. We're 12 years out. This is common to do online dating. But for a
You're
parent
right.
that's from a whole nother generation, what are they thinking? Like, think about it. She's a girl. Now, guys, most people don't give up about guys. You guys go off, do whatever, because that's what you guys are used to doing. Men have bravado and masculinity behind them. But for a girl child, no.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. I wouldn't. I wouldn't look at it like that's cool. But that's true. Now, but you got other couples. I think they are the extreme. You've got other couples on this show that only have 3 months behind them, 6 months behind them. They've been talking, feeling each other out. Because that's what I think it is. It's a process of feeling each other out. If you're living in a
Yeah,
different
true.
state, you're probably just feeling each other out and just trying to see.
Yeah.
And then also this day and age, what is it my girlfriend used to always say, even back when? My girlfriend used to always say, when we were real young women, she used to always say, everybody's got somebody.
Hmm.
Everybody's got somebody. And that's the reality when you're young and you're dating in your 20s and 30s. Like, before you even meet somebody, you're either in a relationship or you're already talking to somebody, I think.
Hmm.
What would you say, JR? Would you agree, disagree?
Nah, I disagree. There's some people that don't have nobody, but I can
Who?
understand.
Who out here don't have nobody?
There are plenty of single people that don't have nobody,
Not
and
nobody they talking to. Now nobody they talking to. Not, they don't
no,
have to even be an exclusive, but I'm talking about they're not even talking to anybody of the opposite
no,
sex.
yeah, there's some people that ain't checking for no one's checking for them, and they ain't checking for nobody. They might be searching for that person, but they ain't got no one. I know people like that.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
not gonna ask nobody to raise no hands or nothing like that.
yeah.
Okay.
Because the thing is, right, we
Yeah.
live in a time where a lot of people spend a lot of time at work, And
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, you hit
oftentimes,
it right in the
yeah,
head.
exactly. So you come home and literally you have time to eat and maybe rest a little bit. Then you've got to get up and get on the grind again. And it's a so the way people are living now is not really, you don't really have the time to go out and necessarily frequent the places in order to meet somebody that you're going to connect with. Not saying it's everybody, but there are some people where that's the case. So, but I agree with Sean's points. There are some of these couples where, yeah, you can say it's only been a few months, which is normal. Like you would expect to have a feeling out process. And then, when you hear about the 12 years and things like that, and the kids that have been born in that time with someone else, then makes you feel like, okay, well, we need to hear more about that particular story and how that plays out. Were they on and off at the time? Were they, that 12 years could have just been, they were together for a certain amount of time, dipped off for a little bit, then reconnected. We don't know. So, but online relationships are a thing. And if you're a traditional person, then it may be foreign to you that people meet online and date and do all these other different things because, again, for some people, it fits their lifestyle. They've got someone that they can access on the telephone or on the internet, and you don't have to be out there roaming nightclubs, bars, churches, libraries, all these different places where you might meet someone. You can do it online now. It's a lot easier, I guess.
I'm listening to
And
the chat. Go ahead.
that's the
Go ahead.
premise of the show, right? That's the premise of the show.
Yeah.
These people didn't do it the conventional way. They all
Yes.
have that in common.
I don't know. I guess it's a whole new world, or either I was very fortunate because, to be honest, and I'm not bragging or boasting, but I didn't have much downtime in my 20s and 30s. Like, I was either in a relationship, coming out of one, spending a little time by myself, and then getting back into another one. I didn't have a lot of alone time in my 20s and 30s.
Mm,
Before, during, and after the online dating in real life. Um, I don't know. I didn't really have much downtime. I get what you're saying though, JR. People are working a lot of hours nowadays. That's a true thing. And I think because I was just online on Reddit on a Reddit forum like a couple nights ago. I started off with the Married at First Sight Reddit forum, and then it ended up going into some other stuff. And to your point, you make a very valid point. A lot of people here stateside, and a few people that were from outside the country, were talking about. Um, in this country, we're having like an inflationary, situation where everything is costing so much more that the only way, like, unless you've locked down your house, unless you've got a good um, price on a rental, or if you got a mortgage that's set, a lot of people are really talking about, even though they're making decent wages and great wages, it's a struggle out here if you're a single person. So I get what you're saying about working and then just having enough time to come home, shower, have a bite to eat, watch a little TV, and get in bed and get ready for the next day of work, right? A lot of people were
exactly.
talking about having side hustles and having second and third jobs. So, like,
Mm,
I can only imagine that is so true. And then if you're raising kids, add raising kids. If you're a single parent, if you've been through a divorce, you were never married and had children, that's a lot. It's a lot. You're right. It's a lot of things going on. Danielle, I do not believe that. I do not believe that, girl. I do not believe that the phone line and your DMs are dry like the Sahara. I ain't buying that. I ain't buying that. You too cute. You too cute. Well, Miss Wilson tells us she's married. So, uh, who is Josh? Josh got somebody, and probably, which one is Josh? Is that the one with Is that the one that lives in LA? Oh my God, I gotta get these names down. Help me out, guys. Who's Josh?
Um, I'm trying to figure out who the people are. The only one I
Absolutely,
knew,
Babs.
Dominic and
Who's
Alexis, Josh and Shay. Josh and Shay. Josh and Shay. Josh and Shay.
Josh and Shay?
12 years.
Josh,
12 years. Josh and Shay.
yeah,
Oh wait,
Josh and
oh
Shay.
you're saying Josh is okay. Oh yeah, you think so, guys? I mean, so you're saying the one that 4 year old's mother? Is that what you're thinking,
Yeah,
Miss
yeah,
Wilson?
yeah, yeah. He ain't just stopped. He just stopped dealing with that woman just like that all of a sudden after 3 years. Come on,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, that's a good point. You did mention that. You did say that, Sean. You might have hit that nail on the head. Um, yeah, Babs,
Now,
I do agree with
probably
you
about
on
the
that.
most two, probably about the most two honest ones probably would be had to be Brandon and the older fella,
Joanna.
Aaron H. Aaron
Yeah.
H. The 51-year
Hmm.
old guy.
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
like him. I like him. I've been chatting with him over on Facebook. I like him a lot. Yeah,
Oh,
he
you better
he
not,
seems
let Diamond, don't let Diamond find out. He gonna show you a ring. He gonna show
I,
you a
I
ring.
can't fit his bill. I put on some extra weight over the years, but I can't fit his bill of a BBW.
You
So
ain't no
he
BBW.
ain't got nothing to worry about with me. I don't I don't fit that criteria just yet. I don't fit that criteria. My genetics somehow is stopping me from being great. Two skinny parents there,
Hey, ain't
so
nothing wrong with it.
yeah. Okay, well
Hey,
let's go ahead. Let's do this thing. Let's go ahead and get it started. Let's get it crackalating, as my daughter likes to say. Let's get it crackalating.
oh,
Um,
okay.
we're gonna start off this week's episode started off with Alexis and Dominique. You know, we're still continuing over from what we saw last week, which was a hot mess. We know that. Um, what do you guys think? Just kind of wrapping that up. I know we talked about it a lot last week, but just kind of wrapping it up. What do you think? Because we talked a lot about him, I believe, last week. But what do you guys think about her behavior, her bravado? Um, any thoughts for you gentlemen? Jr. We'll start with you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, this is the thing, right? Dominique instigated it by. I mean, he instigated the escalation in terms of the physical contact between them. Um, Now, obviously, we've had the incident, and then we've also had an interview where they basically came out and said that their connection was fake, and they were faking the whole time. They were just friends. They weren't actually in a relationship. So, on when I started to think about what actually took place and the reminder that we got at the beginning of this episode, I don't know what to believe about that because it seemed pretty real to me at the time. So, uh, I don't think they were acting. And if they were faking, why was he so pressed about her commenting on the guy's shorts? Now, if they were in a real connection, then I can understand why. He's insecure, right? And she's basically provoking the situation by sitting on his lap while talking about another dude, right? And she weren't necessarily, uh, she was quite upfront. She was like, "Listen, this guy's wearing hoochie daddy shorts and da 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 da," and
Hmm.
he started to definitely feel a way about it.
Yeah,
But the first mistake he made was to put his arm around her, like to grab her, and then
yeah,
to
kind
try
of
and talk in her face.
inhibit her, like almost calm her
Yeah,
down.
nah, you don't do that.
Her,
That's what caused the escalation because then that's gonna make her react in a way. You can't do that in any circumstance. That would have been the cue for them to just, walk away or get some time away from each other so they can come back and speak about it. But no, unfortunately, the escalation took place. And with regards to her behavior, yeah, she obviously felt that she needed to defend herself at that time. Picking up the frying pan is too much. Obviously, the threats of she's going to hit him and all the rest of it, that's way too much. But like
right.
I said, he instigated the physical altercation, and they shouldn't have been on the show after that. So I'm glad they both went home.
Yeah, yeah, we'll cover that in a little bit more detail in a second about them going home. But yeah, you're right. You're right. So you saying that she kind of helped maybe escalated, or tell me, correct me if I'm mistaken in what I'm hearing you say. in
Mm.
some ways she kind of Alexis kind of maybe helped to escalate it or keep it at the level that it was already at with Dominique by grabbing the pot or whatever that was she had in her hand in the kitchen. Also, she kind of kept coming at him and talking very loud at him. I was like, wow, like what's up with that?
Right. So what I'm actually saying is the
Okay.
actual source of tension and frustration. She instigated that by commenting on the guy, the commenting on Greg's shorts. That
Yes. And
that
before that,
provoked. Yeah. Go ahead.
don't forget, but before that, who's the brother? The one that I said is part of the I think is part of the rainbow community. She had him
Yeah.
rapping in her ear when I believe when Dominique walked into the kitchen, and so
Yes.
he saw that and he was a little ticked off about that too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that started the chain of events, but he escalated it by getting physical with her, and then she, because of the reaction to that, she then reacted in a very hostile manner. None of them were cooling down at that point, and somebody
Mm.
should have had the calmer head and diffuse the situation, but they didn't. So
I saw
you
that a little
know,
differently. I saw was it Josh. I saw Josh in this week's episode when we see the continuation. Josh at least two or three separate times went to Dominique, put his arm completely in front of Dominique to keep him from walking toward Alexis,
mhm,
and basically kept trying to get him to calm down. So I did see someone trying to de-escalate it, and as well as I think it was Shay that took Alexis and kind of walked her away, like either outside or into another room. Like, let's separate these two people. They did try, and someone from production came in too. Someone came in
right.
for production.
So yeah, but this is the thing. They didn't de-escalate it themselves. They didn't have
Oh,
that
Yeah.
the two
self-control.
people involved, the
Yeah,
two people,
exactly.
they're kids.
The
They're kids.
Dominique and Alexis, right? They didn't separate themselves from the situation. It took for third parties, external people, to get involved to pull them away. So
Well,
that's
listen
what
to
I mean by that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Well, listen to this. This is my opinion and my thoughts, but they're kids. We saw them do their live. I think I sent that to you last week when
Yeah.
they went live. They
Mm-hmm.
did. They've been doing a whole circuit basically. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing about it is, they're saying, he's telling us that, oh, we're just playing. This was all fake, blah, blah, blah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I disagree. I think it was actually real, but I think he's trying to clean up his image after the fact. And I think she's very foolish for joining him in this foolery. That's what I think. But let's go ahead and get Sean in here. Sean, thank you for that, JR. Sean, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I was one of the ones that believed it, thought it was fake at first.
Okay.
No, I mean, because I mean, I saw this. I mean, I know he had his hand around her neck, but she was laughing at the time, and she didn't look like she was frightened or nothing like that. So I don't know whether. I mean, that's
Okay.
still no excuse to put your hand on someone. A man putting a hand on a
Okay.
woman, or a woman putting a hand on a man. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, if you're gonna get upset over just a comment about a man's shorts, come on, dude, for real, you got some serious anger issues. I mean, my God, I mean, it wasn't like she was talking about trying to get with the guy or nothing like that. I mean, all we heard him say just talking hoochie daddy shorts, what have you. And then he talking about she flirting. Then his retort, well, if I see a woman got a fat ass, I'm gonna say she got a fat ass. Da, 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 da. And if I see that, I'm gonna flirt too. I'm gonna flirt too. I'm gonna flirt too. And I said, just childishness there on both their parts.
Very, very
Because
childish.
I mean, now I know. I mean, she let me know what kind of time she was on when I saw in the first episode. Yeah, when I saw him, he looked good, and if you want to get my back right, he can get my back right later on. I mean, well, okay, all right. Mm.
That made her let you know what that
I
she's
was
very much into the
okay,
physical, very much into the
yeah,
physical. Okay.
yeah. And so, I mean, I mean, I try not to stereotype anybody. To me, he looked like he might have been a thug. To me, he want to be a thug, probably. I'm not sure, but you know, but I mean, when she told them that she did preempt everything that happened with what she had told him, she said, "Well, he got a temper. Well, he does have a temper."
Mm-hmm.
No, so
Mm-hmm.
evidently something may have if it was fake, then that was probably a preempt to something that they would do to when they realize they want to show and they didn't really want to be on the show anymore. Then we don't create this, because I mean, I was looking for signs of visibility of being very afraid of this guy. Because I mean, this guy is like 6'4", big dude. He ain't no small dude. He ain't a small dude like I am. He ain't a medium like I am. So I mean, there's just a whole lot of
Are
things
you
that
a
got going on out
schmedium
there.
in real life? Okay, I'm gonna have to get to Dallas to
I'm a
find out how
medium.
schmedium you are.
I'm a medium. You got to come out here to find out. I'm a medium. I'm a medium guy. They come out to find out.
you you're very transparent about being a schmedium, huh?
I'm a medium. I don't have to get my clothes from the big and tall store. I don't get them from Baby Gap either. But
Baby cat. Oh Lord. Okay, okay.
Mm.
What did you
You,
think about what did you think about I think I'm gonna put this up here next. This is still in relationship to the same couple, Alexis and Dominique. Did anyone else perceive the two of them, either of them, none of them, as being possibly insecure? And then also, I'm going to say this other thing that I think this what's happening that we see in the scene where they're having the altercation is that um, she's not accepting reality. So we see this on Married at First Sight. We see this on a lot of reality shows. And I guess when you stop and think about it in real life, because we've had this situation with a person in our community that's grappling with really their perception of reality. So, like, I feel like what you touched on, Sean, I think is a very real thing. So, I think the fact that she's former military, and I've seen that a lot with my daughter having been in the military. I've seen that a lot, even with women that aren't even in the military. In our culture and community, we sometimes see that there are some women that will get physical in the drop of a hat. Things that we used to think of as being only male,
no
masculine
tendencies are
behavior,
big. That's good. Yeah.
masculine tendencies. Like when I was coming up in my era, you didn't really see women jumping in men's faces like that so much. But nowadays, with the millennials, you see it more and more where women are more willing to jump up in a man's face because hey, everybody's got to be a boss chick, right? And part
Hmm.
of being boss and bossy and being in your empowerment for some people, like we're seeing on Married at First Sight, is that we can jump up in these men's faces. We can call them out of their name. We're going to see that later on in this episode. We can say anything and do anything to men that we're big and bad enough to do. That is something that I saw. But getting back to the insecure part, you guys tell me and start with JR. Did you see any insecurity in one or either of these people, in Alexis and or Dominique? And if so, how do you think it related to the altercation?
yeah, I think in her, like in the first episode, there was a bit where she actually did say she is, the insecure type, you know, and he definitely displayed insecurity at that moment. But I think this is the first time that you're actually meeting up in person, so you're kind of. I would have thought that all of the interest would have been on the person you've been talking to for X amount of time and trying to get to know that person, spend time with that person. Everything is all about this person that you've been speaking to. So for her to quickly divert her attention to some other guy and what he's wearing and repeatedly keep saying it, I can see why Dominique was insecure about that, right?
Mhm.
Um, and again, like that insecurity does not mean that you go and push this lady or you go and put your arm around her or choke her, whatever he was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You've only known you've only met for the first time now.
Mhm.
So if this is the footing that you're getting off to, it doesn't bode well for you anyway going forward. Like this person that you've been speaking to has actually, and this is on both sides, has actually caused your connection that you've been working towards for so long. This moment where you're going to spend time with each other, it's now gone down the drain. So due to insecurity, due to hostility, animosity between the both of them, it's now just played out the way it has. And you know, I think yes, he's been doing damage limitation to a degree, and she's co-signed it because she knows she looked bad as well. So she's
Yeah.
trying to reduce the flack that comes off on her side because she raised the frying pan and came after him. And unfortunately, like you say, now we're in a time where it's even more prevalent that you're seeing these type of confrontations happen. And but the thing that remains constant is that as a man, you have to keep your composure a lot more. You can't match the energy. You can't get in her face. You're 6'4". She's a lot smaller. It's just not a good. It's not a good interaction at all on any level because he could physically dominate her, and on the other side of it, her being small, she can probably feel like she gets away with talking tough and getting up in his face, and he can't do anything because he will be more harshly judged by society by his reaction.
True.
Good point. Good point. Sean, jump on in here. Jump on in here.
Well, I think the other thing is that when you look at the dynamic between those two, um, we just we believe what they say. I don't know if they've ever met each other in person for real or not. They may have, for her to
Mm.
have experienced to say he has a temper. I can't say that I wouldn't blow up over there on internet or telephone call or what have you. How would she know that he has a temper? I mean,
Mhm.
over the line. Well, I mean, what was done that was so drastic that warranted in him having a temper before they met, quote unquote, met for the first time. So I don't know whether everybody's being truly honest in this presentation of the show.
That's a
Um,
good point.
what have you?
Mhm.
So, um, and if something had transpired like that, what did transpire to cause him? And then why are you still dealing with this guy? I mean, I hate
Mhm.
to pull out the Maya Angelou card when they say, well, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. So,
Mhm.
Right.
and then he said, I'm a young man, I'm 31, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, Yeah, of course, you're still learning, still growing, 31. But, if you don't have that positive role,
31.
male, male,
31 is old enough to
yeah,
go to prison.
it's old enough to go to prison. Yeah. So if you don't have that positive male influence in your life to show you how to be a man instead of what's between your legs, to
Ooh.
then you're gonna keep making those same mistakes per se.
Mhm.
You know. So
Right.
and it's more than
Okay.
manhood than that. Just that. It's more than manhood just than just bedding the woman down. And that's what's sad. That's
Mm-hmm.
what so many think. So many men think that that's what manhood is about. Your manhood is about your prowess, your masculine prowess, your testosterone, and what have you.
Mm. Very
Yeah.
good point, especially in the culture. Let's just get
Hmm.
jump over to this, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Got one more thing, and then we're gonna wrap up. Move on to the next scene. We've got well, actually, this is the next scene. What do you guys think about when the entire house comes together to discuss DV and also Aaron's major share that he shares with the group? I thought that was powerful. Go ahead, Sean, since we're on you. Go ahead.
Well, take it back then. Well, I mean, he said, look, he said, I got a daughter your age. Is that what you're talking about, Aaron? That part?
Yeah, you know what? You can do
Yeah.
the two parts. He shared that he had a daughter, but also another large share. What I was referring to is when he talked about his own personal experience with
Oh yeah,
DV.
he's been okay. IPV, intimate partner violence. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that was mighty bold of him to say that because many men are not going to share that they've been abused by a woman, what have you. I mean, I would even admit in my own personal life that I've had an encounter with a woman like that. I mean, I never forget. I went down on my knees to pray one night, and she came up behind me and she cut my shirt open in the back while I was praying, and
Say
poured
what?
cornstarch all over me. I think, wow, what the world?
Wow.
Okay, and this is a woman I was married to, like, dang, oh. And then
Oh
another
my.
time, shit, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna call the cops. They had them come talk to you. It is 3:30. Knock at the door. Here come the police officer. I think, are you Sean Stokes? I said, yes, I am. Well, your wife called, said, we need to come and talk to you. I think the hell Sam is this, 3:30 morning, So,
Wow.
those things,
Sorry.
they're not fun things. They're not fun things. And
Mm-mm.
knowing
No,
that
they're not.
if I had made any sudden moves, I'd have been wearing stripes or orange or whatever. I don't know what, but some women will provoke a man like that. And so it's not just women being the victims. There are some men that are victims,
I keep
becoming
telling
victims
people
and what
that
have you.
we
Yeah,
had a
it's just.
we had a whole cop when I was training for social work. We had a whole police officer, big guy, six
Mhm,
four, 6'5", tall Caucasian guy on the police force for many years, a veteran,
mhm,
and he was being DV'd by his small, tiny wife. Okay. So it
mhm,
happens. It definitely happens. And thank you for saying that and sharing that with us. We got people in the comment section that are supporting you.
mhm,
Can't believe that. A little bit shocked, but like I said, having worked the hotline, you hear all kinds of stories, so you'd be surprised. Go
mhm.
ahead, Jr. Tell us what your thoughts are about when the whole entire house discusses DV and about Aaron's share with the household.
First of all, sorry to hear that, Sean. You know,
Oh, thank you. I
uh,
appreciate it.
yeah, in a group setting like that, everyone gathered to support her, and I felt like um, when he expressed that he'd gone for it personally, you know, he wasn't directly involved in the situation, but what he was trying to do was kind of console her at that time by um, bonding over a shared experience, and she had a lot of support from the ladies as well. Um,
Mhm,
so I think it was a situation where everybody's affected by probably what they saw in the altercation. Um, and I guess it maybe put it in perspective what they're really doing now that they've all come together and what they're there for, because it isn't to beef with each other and get into those type of altercations. It's not a good look, and it basically ruins all the chemistry that you've been working up towards to that point. So I felt like the group setting was very like a support network that she needed at that time. And I don't know why she was umming and ahhing about whether to call it quits. Listen, if your man goes home based on what happened, you can't be there no more because you ain't got no connections there. This ain't ready to love. Where there's going to
mhm,
be a curveball and all this other stuff. That was the dude that
Mm,
you've been dating. So yeah, it's home time. If he goes home, and she got to go home as well, and unfortunately, you lasted one episode. But and if you already knew that he had a temper, the worst thing you want to do is, you know, do get involved in an altercation where with him because he's been already shown to have one as far as she was saying prior to this altercation.
mm-hmm.
So like I said, the lack of self regulation, he's unable to calm himself down. She was unable to calm herself down. This support network, I think, was there to kind of reassure her that, it's an unfortunate situation and she shouldn't tolerate it. Once he's shown
Yeah.
me that he can get this irate this quickly as well, not saying that there's any duration or anything, but if he can get this irate where he's going to push her and then grab her and grips her up like that, that's not a good look. That's not someone that she can feel
Man,
safe around. And
not
then
at all.
To Sean's point, um, you don't also want to be around someone that's going to pick up a frying pan every time she gets mad and charge at you, or
True.
No,
you know
no,
that
you're
I.
not. Man, I'm telling you the problem I got with the whole thing with him, it's so much. But the first thing that comes to my mind is that in the very beginning of the scene with their altercation, it appears like his hand goes right up, like you said, he kind of grabs her in a bear hug, and then it looks like his hand goes up toward her neck. I can't stand that. That whole choked or spanked thing is not funny to me. I get very angry with even the thought of somebody putting their hands near my neck. Don't even try it. Don't even attempt it because you will get jacked up, okay? Cuz I'm not going to go for your neck, don't go for my neck. The neck is like a very sensitive area. The neck is a very sensitive area. That's why on a completely different note, kisses in the neck area and along the neckline are very arousing, but don't even think about putting your hands anywhere near my neck. That whole thing that some men, I'm gonna give grace here. I'm gonna say some men because I know it's not all men, but this whole thing that a lot of younger men have gotten into, and even older ones too, my age and older, because men have always, and some women watch porn, but this whole thing where porn is going now, where black men actually think that that's sexy to hem somebody up by their neck. Nah, that's not where it's at. And if you're a woman and you feel like that's what you like, I would say you might want to go get some therapy, like tomorrow, like ASAP, like real soon, because that ain't where. But I'm gonna move on to like Taronda talking to Alexis about this whole thing. She takes her outside. Um, Taronda does, like you said, JR brings up a very good point. The whole group, and as well as Taronda, when she sits down to talk to Alexis, that, hey, I got word what happened last night. It's a new day. She brings out the laptop. Dominique has recorded a you might want to, Sean, you might want to mute your mic. Dominique has recorded a message to Alexis, and at the end of it, what do you guys think when he says that it's not that big of a deal? What did you guys think about that? It's not that big of a deal what happened. Let's just kind of move on. Let's kind of push this under the rug, and let's get on with things at the house. What did you think, Sean?
Well, probably dismissive of what happened. It always goes back to the IPV version. Sometimes some men would do that to a woman and say, "No, I probably it's not going to happen again. Not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again." And then next thing you know, it'll go well for a little while, and then next thing you know, next thing it blows up, then it's back to square one again. So, like Ms. Wilson said, what fake apology. So I mean,
Fake
whether
apology.
whether it was clout chasing to try to stay relevant and stay on the show and to clear his image or not, maybe. I didn't hear the sincerity in the apology, if there was an apology. Hey, come on,
Yeah.
bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Yeah, it ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. I mean, maybe he doesn't know how to apologize. I don't know.
That that could be, but also I guess I think about just the other day, just a few days ago, last week, late last week. He basically said the same thing. He said he kind of told us that we're old fogies, those of us bloggers that cover the show, and that's old school because didn't nobody have to go to the hospital. She didn't bleed. And so this really isn't DV, is what he was basically telling us. So yeah, I think it also shows though maybe that's how he looks at it. If did nobody bleed and wasn't no bullet shot from a gun and nobody unalive, it's all good.
Yeah, and like Babs just said, you just told him, just be cool, just be cool. I mean, it's like a part of the culture today, which I hate so much of the culture. It's like, no snitching. Why you snitch on me? Why you snitch? Why you snitch?
I got shot down in somebody's live where those two were on because I said about being part of this being. I feel like part of it is to blame. And you can agree or disagree. It's just an opinion, and we all know those what those are like, right? I feel
Yeah.
like part of this kind of comes from the rap community, the rap lyrics, and
Hmm.
going back to what I was just saying a second ago, to pornography. People are stimulated and they don't realize how much conditioning they bring into from other areas of their life. So from pornography, from seeing women getting hemmed up and being tossed around and treated like that, that's supposed to be love, that's supposed to be sexy, really? But you'll be surprised the number of men that think that, because if you stop and think about it, first of all, in our community, how many men, how many boys are actually growing up with fathers in their home? How many boys, young males, are growing up with a mother and father team together, whether it be their biological father or a stepfather? And how many of them are seeing the healthy ways to love a woman, the healthy ways a woman loves on a man? How many of our youth are seeing that? So quite naturally, when they get 20 and 25 and 30, they're out here dating, and they don't know what's reality. They're just doing whatever
Hmm.
the world is doing today, and what they see on IG. Like, oh, speaking of IG, so this young man, he said that, was it JR, who is that couple on IG all the time? Like, the first thing when I came back to IG, I was shocked by Christian Blue, the
And Blueface and
Blueface.
Chris Rock,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Rock.
yeah. They were on when I first came on a couple years ago. When I first came back into this space of IG, that's all
Hmm.
I saw on my feed. I'm like, what in the hot hell?
Right.
This is supposed to be a couple that people admire? Like, what? Young
Mm.
people think this kind of love is healthy. He's smacking her around. She got teeth missing. What? Like,
Hmm.
come on now.
Well, she 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 basically he had a show where she was fighting the other ladies on the show in order to vie for his relationship, or like vie for his attention. So he didn't knock her about. She was fighting the other women. And then when they
Oh,
got into that relationship, she
mm,
was also hostile towards him. And then him, when he retaliated, obviously he looks bad. Like I said, he's a 6 foot plus guy. And as feisty and as aggressive as she is, he can't match that energy. So really and truly, he should have just made a better choice. She wouldn't have transformed from the person she was into the person she is, going viral. And their relationship, I mean, was toxic and crazy. And that's exactly what we saw with Dominique and Alexis, potentially on this show. Also, I have to say that I'm quite, you know, first of all, there's different types of pornography, right? Men and women watch it more regularly now than they probably used to back in the day, because it's widely more available. And a lot of the men that grow up without both parents in the home, there's also a large amount of women that grow up without both parents in the home too. And the old saying is that sex sells.
yeah.
So one of the most lucrative ways to make money for some people, especially nowadays with porn and things like that being so readily available, is to go into adult entertainment and start making movies and all those things. And a lot of those ladies in that industry, their backstory is probably down to
The
not
abuse.
having the structure at home, abuse, drug use, low self esteem, and all these other things.
Mm,
And some of them just enjoy the attention of being looked at by so many guys and women, right?
right.
Hmm.
So it's not a, I don't put porn as, this is just a violent thing where it's just all BDSM and people stringing each other up. Nah, there's sensual, there's romantic, that couples watch it together, there's gay and lesbian stuff, there's all types of stuff, there's older women,
Yeah.
whatever your particular nuance
Niche, nuance. Yeah.
niche niche is,
Niche,
you
niche. Yeah.
find a category of that in that adult entertainment sphere now, right? So I don't know if violence automatically translates to the watching of that, but What I will say is, in the community at the moment, there is a heavy interest in producing content either on social media or on reality TV where you're seeing toxic, dysfunctional relationships.
Hmm.
And
Yes, that
and
part.
most people say they're doing it for the views and all these other things. Maybe because one of the things about entertainment now is if you can elicit emotion from the audience, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. But if there's emotion attached to it, then those people are going to come back and watch it, or they're going to have something to say about it, or they're going to review it, or they're going to share the video. And that's the age we live in now, right? So it's an ecosystem. These type of things come out on TV, Blueface, Christian Rock, this show, Ready to Love, all these other different shows, Love and Marriage DC, anything problematic gets shared, gets turned into a short or a 15-second video. People make up their mind based on that small clip, decide whether to watch the whole thing or they take a position, and that elicits the response. It triggers them, and it's all about triggering people now. So that's what I see as the problem. They could have
Mm,
put the
I
DV
think you're right.
disclaimer last episode before it aired, the trigger warnings before it aired, but they didn't. This
Hmm.
episode they did. So they could
Yeah,
have done that the whole time. They've chopped and edited this show before we get to see it, so they could have put it on there, but they didn't. They
they
allowed
didn't.
people to watch it and then assume that we're going to see these couples meet each other. And I guess there's an element of it's going to be a romance and a lovey-dovey thing, and how does this work, and what was your backstory? Why did you start dating each other? But then at the end of all of that, you see this hostile situation take place. So I think a lot of the video that Dominique did with Alexis, it wasn't just him by himself; it was both of them.
Yeah,
A
it
lot
was.
of it was just to clean up the image, and so that they don't look so bad when it now that it's aired on TV.
Mm, okay, I see. I see your point. I also see this couple, and to wrap this up, and we're going to move on to Sandia and Chris. I also see this couple individually and collectively as really using the internet, Beyonce's internet, for clout chasing. Because the other thing I found out, we knew that he had went viral, and I just found out how he went viral was that he was on Kendra G's dating show, right? So he
Okay.
was on Kendra G's dating show and went viral. So that lets me know. Now I've never seen, because I watch Kendra G quite faithfully, but I never saw. I don't recall seeing his, but I can imagine if we go back and look at it, I can just imagine he's probably kicking out some manospheric type conversation, huptet, like beating on his chest, something very toxic masculinity. That's what he kind of strikes me as. I could be wrong.
Right.
I
Well,
don't really even care at this point because I just see him as he and her as clout chasers.
right. But the thing about it is, if he was that way inclined, then he would be going to the wrong place to look for a relationship, because Kendra G shows very much the opposite. It's very much pink pill, misandrist type of rhetoric that comes from there. A lot of these women want high value men, the 6 foot, six figure, high value earners, all
And
those
don't
type of
forget
things.
the six pack.
Yeah, the six pack. Yeah, but a lot of them, this is why I think people go on there. It's like since a well-known person in the community passed away, she's kind of managed to grab a base where she's taking those same ladies looking for those guys, and she knows this unrealistic expectations for a lot of them. But as long as they keep coming, then she'll keep getting the streams and the views. So
Okay, I'm glad we have opposing and different viewpoints on this channel, because I see it differently. I see Kendra as oftentimes stopping her female guests and her male guests to ask deeper questions when they talk about what it is they're looking for, what they want. Often asking both the men and the women, do you yourself offer this like if it's a salary or an income, somebody wants someone that earns over 100,000. Well, do you yourself offer this? Are you yourself college educated and have a
That's
degree?
exactly my point. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I'm
but I mean,
saying. That
but she's doing it to men and women, though. It sounds like you were saying that she's only allowing the women to ask for these astronomical asks, but not give any accountability. But she's holding the women accountable and the men.
Nah, what I'm saying is the ladies come on the show with those expectations. The guys are coming on there basically to to find somebody. And
You say
uh, uh,
anybody, huh?
exactly, exactly.
I don't know about
Whereas,
that.
yeah, like, well, listen, the proof's in the pudding. You're not seeing couples
Okay.
being match made on that show at all, right? You're seeing people come on, voice what they want, and then
Hmm.
that's it. You don't hear from them. Some of them may
It's
come back to
tough.
do a
I
repeat
have
afterwards, but yeah,
I have
nah.
seen at least three guys come on and they claim that they're
Okay,
about to get married. I've seen them with their
right.
significant other. One guy moved from his
Okay,
state. I forget what state it was. He moved all the way from his state to where his
yeah.
woman was, and they were planning to get
Hmm.
married. So
Right.
okay,
Three, Aubrey. Three. And the show's been going for years. So the success rate
I
is
get
not
that.
that's very minuscule. So you
Hey,
will have
listen,
outliers. You will have
we got all
outliers. You will have yeah, but
we're gonna
no,
have to
for
make
the
it.
most
We're
part,
gonna have to have a whole conversation about this. Because here's my thing. Remember, I said this last week. Black people, marriage is not for black people. Marriage is for white people. So in this country, what you're seeing the transition of our black community. Uh, um, Families are falling through the wayside. They're falling through the wayside in real life. So it doesn't matter whether they come on Kendra G's show, whether they bump into each other at church, at college, wherever. Black people in this country, the numbers are going down. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
hmm.
That's part of what I'm trying to say to you. But that's a whole nother conversation. Let's go ahead and move on to the next banner. I appreciate you, JR. What did you think about this conversation here? Sandia and Chris go outside and they start talking about what had happened last week, with his conversation with the guys and him boasting about being a player, basically.
Oh.
uh, Sean, I'm gonna get you back in the conversation. What were your thoughts as these two are talking? Sandy is a little Haitian young lady, and also turns out Chris is Haitian as well.
Hmm. Well, I think it was just a word salad that he was using. I mean, he was touting how he said, "No, look, she's not my girlfriend. I can get plenty of ladies and so forth and so on." And he was just his male bravado was just showing. And then when they had the conversation outside the house on this past week's episode, so I don't trust women. I don't trust women. And she said, "Well, what am I here for?" He said, "I'm learning to trust you." So I think like Ms. Wilson said, he's for the streets. I think I don't think he's a genuine place, but I don't think he's fully into her like she wants to be into him. I can't see it.
Okay, okay,
I mean,
and
that was a good gesture he did. I mean, he gave her a helicopter ride, and, like she always wanted, but
oh yeah, and he
I
kind of
don't think
kind of
he's
threw
doing that
that.
much. Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Sean? Did you see this too? Did you notice that he kind of told her that now you're getting emotional? I'm not that
Hmm.
emotional. And what about that doggone helicopter ride? I felt some kind of way when he said all of those things mashed
Hmm.
together. Like, what are you
Hmm.
trying to manipulate her into feeling like? Because you took her on
Yeah.
a helicopter ride that we know you didn't pay for out of your own pocket.
Oh yeah.
Like, is she supposed to owe you something, dude? What's going on here? But I'm not gonna let her off on accountability either. But let me go over here and see what JR. What are you thinking about these two, Sandia and Chris?
Yeah, very similar to what happened with Dominique and Alexis actually. You had this guy now, not in terms
Mm.
of the physical aspect, no,
Oh,
in
okay,
terms of
okay.
the insecurity aspect. I think Chris is actually yeah, he was bragging, and there's no need when you're around guys, and you know how successful you've been in dating or whatever the case may be. You don't really talk about it. You don't really brag about it like that. I think he's quite
Hmm.
immature. And then also to do it not only in front of the guys, but knowing she's right there by herself, standing there watching you have this conversation, and your reaction is to say, you know what, go do something, go be somewhere. I'm with the guys talking, type thing. Very dismissive, very emotionally unaware of the fact that he could be hurting her. He is hurting her with what he's saying. He's basically telling
Right.
her that she's expendable. Like she's expendable. I can get other girls. Like, you're yes, we're meeting for the first time, but it ain't that deep. You know. I took
Mhm.
you on your little helicopter ride, which is something that you always wanted to do. And
Hmm.
you know, now I'm trying to learn if I can trust you. If I can't trust you, I'm back out there in the strip club and doing all these other different things.
Mhm.
Um, so she obviously likes him based on the connection they've built up over the time they've been talking. She's probably a little. She seems to be a lot more emotionally invested, and he
Hmm.
is kind of just seeing whether it's going to work or not, and then ready to bounce if it don't.
While I got you on the mic, what did you think as we move further into their scene? Another portion where she was cooking in the kitchen, and she asked him, "Does he want some sugar?" And he tells her that uh, he doesn't like sugar, quote unquote. We know she's talking about kisses, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
What did you think about that, Gr?
Yeah, again, it's a sign that I don't think he's feeling her like that. I don't think he's connected to her. You know,
Mm.
similar to what Dominique said about Alexis. When he first met her, he was like, "Nah, like the physical doesn't match what I thought the profile was going to show me."
Yeah.
Um,
I think he
so
was catfish on that one. Yeah.
yeah, so
You think?
I
Wait,
think
wait, 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 wait. Are you saying that Alexis catfished Dominique?
I think that was a catfish there. I couldn't see that.
We saw some of those very highly filtered pictures that she sent him. Yeah. Okay.
mm, so I think with Chris, it's like a sense of I don't know. He's not wowed. He's not
Mhm.
taken aback by how stunning she is.
Oh.
He's just like, yeah, she alright. Let me just see
I've
Okay.
had
how it
better.
goes.
I've had better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. That kind of I've had better
Mhm.
type of attitude.
Mhm.
I think she's
yeah,
beautiful, but like you said, but it's all about what he thinks because everybody beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think she's naturally beautiful, and I love that she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. She's
yeah.
got beautiful braids in her hair. I love how naturally beautiful she is.
Natural beauty is a great commodity, a great asset to have. You don't have to do the most to look attractive. But again, like for him, it seems like he ain't he ain't feeling it like that.
Mm. Okay, what do you guys think? I got a question up here, and you guys, I don't know if you can see it, but I just want to ask both you gentlemen briefly. I got a feeling that Sandia is not as naive as she may seem to be to us, watching her as viewers. Do you feel like she is naive to the manipulation and the things that uh, it appears that maybe he's doing or he's throwing out? Is she? Do you think she's naive?
Nah, I think she's just smitten.
Okay, so not naive, but smitten by him. And what about
Yeah.
you? Thank you, Jr. What about you, Sean? What's your thought?
Did she hear his conversation? That's my question at
Hmm.
first. You
Oh
think
yeah,
she heard?
that's what their
She heard.
conversation was about this week. Yeah, she heard
Was it
him.
on one episode? One edit looked like she didn't hear the conversation. She went out the room. On the other edit, it looked like she heard it. She was listening to what he was saying. Sound like he was talking loud enough, and then when he realized that she heard it,
Hmm.
supposedly, then he recalled a little bit.
She
So
heard
it,
it.
so back to answer your question, is she as naive? I think she probably is just collecting data, maybe.
Ah,
She's collecting
okay.
data to use for
Collecting
a
that
later,
data.
collecting
Okay.
data for use as a for a later purpose. Yeah, I
Ah,
think that's what
okay.
it
I
is.
like that too. I think that's a great idea, especially since, and I'm saying this about her being naive because I'm kind of looking to tie this in the next week or two. We know if we go back to last week's episode, Then Sandia told us early on that she's not only was born and raised in Haiti and then came to this country, but she's also she's Christian, right? So
Mhm.
she has this Christian worldview. So I think that kind of filters how she looks at things. But
Could very well
sometimes,
does.
yeah.
Have a
But
cheek.
here wait, real quick. Here's the thing. Sometimes though, as Christians, we also have a worldly view, and we're conflicted. So we want to be a Christian over here, and we want to save ourselves from marriage sexually, but then at the same time, we got sexual desires. Go ahead, JR. You were gonna say.
Hmm. Well, the thing is, I feel like she definitely likes him more, and she's attracted, and he knows that, based on the conversation they were having. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
he
so
knows
I
that,
don't think he dislikes her.
right,
I just
but
feel
he knows
like
that she's
he's not
smitten.
as into her. As he is. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay.
He seems like the type of guy that feels like all girls, like he can go into a room and all the girls, and he can have his pick of
Yeah,
whichever girl.
he doesn't have the short of opinion on himself.
He may feel that way, but I'm
Exactly.
looking at him, and maybe it's my eyes are failing me as I'm getting older. But he ain't that guy. He ain't that guy like that. He's cute, but nothing exceptional about him. In fact, well, and like I
But
said, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But I would pick that other guy over him. What's his name? Millie's guy,
Aaron,
Greg.
Millie,
Greg.
Greg. Mhm.
I would pick
Greg.
Greg, but that's more my type preference. But yeah, nah. Mm-mm. I think Miss
Mm.
Wilson hit
Well,
on
like I said
something.
to you last week,
Yeah. Hmm.
I was gonna say like, there are some guys who just feel like they have that self confidence where they can just get any girl they choose, and some of them, um, I wouldn't say just purely from a male that Chris has anything physically or anything, but he seems like the type of guy that feels like he can get any girl he wants, and that to me was expressed in the conversation he had with the guys, with her, so in the way that he spoke to her in the conversation outside,
Mm.
that he feels like he can wrap her around his little finger.
Yeah, I will say this though, to your point, Jr. You're right. I do see from a viewer's perspective. I do feel like she is smitten with him. I do feel that way. That she appears to be smitten with him, and very much willing to go along with some of his tomfoolery, if you will. Right. Let me see. What is last name first?
Mm-hmm.
What are they saying? Yes, Sandia has low self-esteem, sees her boyfriend as the prize, and is willing to do anything to keep him. Culturally, Haitian women are taught to cater to a man and to submit in what some view as demeaning. Okay, okay, I didn't know that. I had a years ago. I had a friend that lived in Florida that was originally from Haiti. Wonderful, wonderful gentleman. Danced with the Alvin Ailey dance theater. I don't really know. I don't know any Haitian women though. But yeah, you can see on screen she comes across. Sandia comes across as lacking in confidence, lacking in confidence, and that she's willing to kind of bend and be flexible to him.
And that's also
Chris,
a
that
very common that cultural aspect is something that's very common outside of the United States, and there are many cultures and
what
communities where
aspect?
that is the dynamic,
Very
I'm sorry.
patriarchal. Yeah, very
where the
patriarchal.
lady, yeah, very patriarchal culture, where the man is the
And
breadwinner or the head of the household, the lady is more meek, submissive as they call it. You know,
okay,
Mhm.
she doesn't put up resistance. She basically is just going to look for a partner. He takes care of her, and she does all the domestic work, and that's the traditional patriarch dynamic. Outside of
okay.
the states is quite.
Okay, I see what okay, I see what you're saying, and her being submissive. Miss Wilson said that she feels like Chris is delusional. Baby Doll says Chris needs to heal. Yeah, I felt like that when he said he didn't trust women. That was kind of like, wow, how can you say that you don't trust women? And he didn't say like her. He just said women as a broad generalization. Um, let's see. Last name first is also saying Chris is very insecure. He doesn't get women on his
Hmm.
own merit. He gets them with money and experiences. Yeah, that's what I felt like when he kind of started gaslighting her. Like, what about that helicopter ride? You've never done that before. I took you on that. I made you. I made
Hmm.
you feel some kind of great way with that experience. Afterwards, he
Hmm.
separates because he doesn't feel he's good enough intrinsically. Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. And also, they're definitely agreeing with you, Jr. I think she means Jr. With
Mhm.
what you were saying about the cultural differences outside of the United States. That's a very good point. Um, okay. We find Taronda. We go outside in the outside of the mansion in the backyard. There are all these chairs and all the whole entire house. All the couples are there, and Taronda has each couple pick a Kama Sutra pose. Um, and with that, we've got Sandia going back to Sandia and going back to
Yes.
Sandy and Chris, they picked the lotus blossom pose. What did you guys make of that and their experience at the lotus blossom pose? I don't know.
Well,
I'm just recapping, guys. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble here, but just
well, it's
I,
interesting. Of course,
Sean, the preacher man. Okay, come on, Sean.
it's interesting. I mean, based on what he said, that I wish it could be go beyond this. Whether he was just talking off the spur of the moment just to say something, just to have something to say, I don't know. Um, very interesting, very interesting. I mean, she didn't have. I don't think she had a real serious comeback or comment to what he said. You know,
Yeah.
maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't trust what he said. I mean, I don't know
He
how they
seemed
shot
kind
these
of
sequences. I don't
good.
know.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know how
seemed
they
kind
shot
of
these sequences.
genuine. Sean, did you feel like he felt
Yeah.
he seemed genuine in this when he's gazing into her eyes and telling her how much attracted he is to her finally?
I think that probably could have been shot. That might have been shot before the conversation outside. Because I
Ah,
don't know. I don't know how much difference in time it is between the conversation they had outside versus the Kama Sutra scene. I don't know. I mean,
that's
I can't, I
interesting.
can't, I can't put those two together. Like, you just told me you don't trust women, and da 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 da, and then
Oh,
now
I
we're in this
see what you're
conversation.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I, I think it's kind of out of sequence there. Maybe the way it may have been shot.
Excellent. Excellent point. Excellent point. I see your point now. That it's very
Hmm.
possible they did these exercises and then
Hmm.
he had that conversation with her.
Yeah.
I get your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good point. I love that. That's a very good catch. What about you, JR? What
Well,
did you think about the lotus blossom pose? And how flexible do
I've
your hip fingers
listen.
have to be to do
Despite
that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
listen, despite said for like 30 seconds ago was actually the most intimate of the poses, in my opinion, because you're embracing, you're up close, you're
Yes.
looking into each other's eyes, and you can talk
Yes.
directly. So the pose was actually at hand, um, and I feel like intimacy is gonna have a very important role in these relationships. You've been talking without it. You haven't had your physical touch up to this point. So it's a way of seeing whose walls are up and how vulnerable someone can be and how you in that time. So I think Chris and Sandia's Lotus pose or whatever it was, I think that was probably
Mhm.
the most intimate of all of the poses in the challenge.
Oh, very good point. To your point, we've got someone in the chat, last name first, wants to know or has made the comment, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Uh, is that it seemed very off-putting for them to be introducing these sexual poses so quickly when they allegedly have never met. Aren't there more important things for them to learn and explore about one another? What are your thoughts about that?
But it was supposed to produce intimacy, quote unquote.
Hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether they knew the lines between intimacy versus sex. I don't know.
Well, they did have their clothes on. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
they
the
did.
body part, the
Well,
genitalia
hey,
was
hey,
actually
it,
touching
it could
without.
be, it could be Jermaine Stewart. We ain't got to take our clothes off to have a good time. So, I mean, it could be Jermaine Stewart.
Ooh. Okay, all right.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I know with me. Hold on. Before we go to the boom boom room, look, I ain't seen you.
So maybe this is practice before the boom boom room. Has
Before the
anybody
boom,
been
yeah.
to the boom room? Josh and
Oh,
Shay, they've been to the boom room.
the only thing I can think about is that look, no, I'm gonna need a negative STD test first. I don't know you. I don't know you. I've just met you. I don't know you. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
need a
yeah,
negative
that's
STD
good.
test first. Because I don't want
That's a
to.
good point.
I don't want to get some. I don't want to get something I can't give back. So I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be the gift to keep on giving. So So I mean, but I think the Kama Sutra thing was supposed to produce intimacy, and not unless it was to stimulate and heighten. Say, hey, look, let's try this when we do get to this point, what have you.
I guess the other part of it, though, I'm thinking, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I guess the other part of it could be you're talking about people that have been online, FaceTiming, WhatsApping, and been talking to each other verbally and getting to know things about each other, to be fair. So maybe they're looking at this as like, now you meet in person, let's go ahead and move this thing along, uh the arrow along a little bit, because you guys have been talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, whether it's 3 months or whether it's 12 years. You have to kind of know a little bit about this person. It's not like literally you did just meet, but it's not like you never talked before. You've been talking for either months or for years. So
Mhm.
what about you,
Right.
JR? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Listen, there's a difference between intimacy and I think it's very important that people this intimacy is building a connection with someone without stimulating their erogenous zones, right? You're not there's no uh, there's no any of those sexual components in being up close, being vulnerable, being open, and connecting in that way. Because an intimate connection to a sexual or physical attraction. It means. I don't have a problem with them introducing this task because, like I said, after speaking to someone for X amount of time, you already have had about what their favorite colors are, what they do for all the chit chats kind of been done already. So now you're meeting for the first time. How much do you like each other physically? Can you connect intimacy wise? And with the challenge, I think, as we're going to speak about later, I feel like the challenge was to see how vulnerable the person is with their partner at this stage. And that is
Yeah.
dependent on how they react to being in the position that they've chosen.
Well, that's where, to me, like you
So,
said,
for
goes back what JR
example,
said. Okay, go ahead. I apologize.
mm, no,
Go
go
ahead. I
ahead,
apologize.
man.
Go ahead. Well, I think
No, okay, so like, so some. and that we're both going. All
We've
right, so
got
let me
we
just
got a
finish
little
the
bit of
point.
a lag on one of your sides. So go ahead and finish up,
Yeah,
JR.
it's the lag. Yeah, yeah. So basically, like you had some couples who were quite, okay, well, let's just do this because it's the easiest one, and then you had others where let's get into a position where I'm comfortable and I'm open and I'm ready to connect with. So I don't have a problem with the challenge. It's not like they're taking off each other's clothes and going up to the room straight away. That wasn't the mandate. It was just to see how open and vulnerable you are.
Okay. All right. JR, you finished? JR?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Go ahead, Sean.
Yep,
Thank you,
yep.
JR.
I land my plane.
Okay. Yeah,
Let
I
us know,
apologize.
JR, next
I, I,
time. Let
I,
us know.
I won't try to. I won't try to delay you from landing the plane. I think playing on what Jar was saying, that intimacy simply means into me see, you know, or see
Hmm.
into me. So into into me see see. So looking at the eyes are the windows to the soul. So you can basically tell a lot, just like doctors. Doctors look into the eyes to see what's going on in a person. If the eyes are not looking healthy, then some is an indication that something internally is not going right. And I think it's the same way if you're in tune with your partner, you can look into the eyes of that individual to see, I see it.
Okay.
Um,
So
Now whether it was a intimacy good for people that have been only 3 months into the conversation with each other, or would it have benefited more if Josh and Shay have been 12 years into it, or
let's
three
let's let's
years
stay
into it? Like,
let's Sean, not to cut you off, but let's focus in now
but
on Shay and Josh. Let's focus in on them. They did the curled angel pose. What did you think? Because they're the ones that have been talking for 12 doggone years. What did you think about their chemistry in this pose?
well, she said she was tingling. And she said, "Is that what?"
Was that
I thought
was that an allergic reaction? Was that an allergic
well,
reaction?
she said, well, if that's what you want to call it, if that's what you want to call it. So, yeah, I think it was something. I think it was something else that she was. I think she said, "No, I'm ready to get it on." That's what she wanted, you know. And because she said, we've gone through the intimacy. Now it's time for the physical. So I think that was on her mind. you know, I think that's the biggest thing that was on her mind.
Right. That seemed to be it. They seem to be, I mean, out of all the couples, even though it's been 12 years before they finally met, they actually do still seem to be vibing. So it's like this, is it just me or is anybody waiting for the other shoe to drop? What do you think, Sean?
I think the other shoe's gonna drop after a while. I got a feeling. I mean, I'm not too optimistic. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not trying to be overgeneralizing, but come on, women. Dude, 12 years. I mean, 12 years. I mean, what took you so long? What took you so long? Wasn't like you were locked up. I didn't have to do any prison visits. Nothing like that. So, I mean, what's the deal? You in Tennessee, I'm in Florida. 12 years. It ain't like we from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean. You know.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
It's-
pass it. Let's kick it on over to JR. JR, what are your thoughts about Shay and Josh, who have done all the poses and have already been to the boom boom room?
Man, if that's how deep their connection's gone, I can't be mad at it. It works for both of them, and for some people it may be too soon or whatever. But yo, if they're both feeling it and they're both interested in each other in that way, go ahead. You only live once.
Okay. Okay.
Not
And
everybody
then,
has to wait 90 days. That's the thing. Not everybody has to wait 90 days or 3 months or
well,
any
like
of
I
those
said,
things. Some people don't want to. Yeah, go.
yeah, yeah. I give them. They waited 12 years. So I mean, I guess it all depends on what people's definition of wait is. Because if you look at the fact that according to them, they've been talking, quote unquote, dating, getting to know each other for for over a decade.
Hmm.
I'm with you, Jr. Like I don't have a time limit for these people because it's their adult business. They're both if they're both consenting adults. Hey, who am I to say? Who am
Hmm.
I to say? They went to the boom boom room. Hey, knock it out. You know, like they're in the curl position. They like this curled angel position. She seems sweet as an angel. Now, will she fast forward to real life? Will she get along with his two kids? Will she get along with the kids' moms? Will that all work out? And who's going to move where? I guess those are all the logistics part of it. But if these people want to be intimate before they figured all of that out, that's on them. That's on
Hmm.
them. Well, let's see what the chat is having to say about this. We got a lot of speculation going on in the chat. Some people are saying there were no group activities and then they just jumped into that. That's a good point. Could have been more group activities.
Right.
Some are saying that the bedroom activities should be private. Well,
It's
okay.
not.
Okay.
It's not a bedroom activity.
Yeah, it was yeah, I think how different people are going to perceive it different ways because it was definitely an
Exactly.
intimacy activity. So you're right, but they
Right.
did have their clothes on.
Hmm.
um let's see, last name first says, for example, even if they had encouraged more communication or done more follow-up and given them an intimacy activity or something, it could have been more fruitful. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not
Okay.
sure why you. I'm not sure why you would want a whole group activity though.
Yeah.
Couples are. These two. The couples have been talking and doing their thing for a while. So
Miss
you
Wilson,
know.
you're a mess. Somebody, Miss Wilson wants to know why you guys have the same exact background. Okay,
Yeah.
hey,
Same.
I got
We
good
have the
taste.
same interior designer.
Hmm.
Did you hear that, Miss Wilson? Same interior designer. Okay.
We next door.
Uh,
We
yes,
we next door neighbors. Hmm.
they right they're right next door to each other. Yeah, because you know what, Sean says
Right next door to
he
each
really
other.
wants to get over to the UK. So you never know. You never know. You never know. Oh, you set it up in the chat. That's funny. Uh, but wait a minute. Last name first. Another question. I'm curious about what they have after the lust is gone. Yeah, that's any of these couples. That's any in real life on a reality show. Uh, that's any of the couples. Like
Yeah.
what do any of us have after the lust is gone? And the hip flexors are no longer working as good as they used to. What do you have?
Hip flexors
Intimacy.
gone. Snap, crackle, and pop. Finished.
Well,
What do you
I
have?
think I think that the premise of the show is not designed to create a group environment, but I think it's designed to produce the one-on-one environment because it's not like Ready to Love where the power is to shift elimination between men and women because nobody's getting eliminated unless one of the partners leave, then both of them got to leave. You know,
Right, like we saw
so
before.
yeah, yeah. So I think the idea is to build a one-on-one because unless somebody's a sneaky link and trying to, hey, look, man, look, I'm gonna try to get over there with so and so and so. I mean, I ain't feeling too much this young lady I'm with. I don't know how you're gonna do it. You know, I went and get around it, but I'm sure something like that's probably gonna happen this season. I'm sure something like that's got to happen. That's why I'm thinking. I'm not gonna put it past this show. That's why I think that's what's gonna happen. I don't know.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, but because before Dominique was removed with Alexis early this episode, I really thought that there was maybe some interest. Dominique was also looking at who's the very lovely young lady, Millie. He was checking out Millie in the kitchen
Mhm.
before all the other stuff went down. She had on a nice form fitting, or no, I'm sorry, not Millie. It's the other lady. They kind of look alike. They have the
Sienna,
same
Sienna,
complexion.
not Sienna.
Sienna. He was
Sienna.
checking out Sienna, who had a very form-fitted dress on and was looking very delicious, if I may say so, as a straight woman. He was checking out her breast, and then also the other lady that's from Chicago. That's what's the one that's from Chicago that's dating the alphabet guy?
The alphabet guy.
Aaron,
Aaron.
Aaron,
Aaron.
the alphabet guy with
Jody?
the
Is
dangly
it
earrings. You
is
know
it
the alphabet guy
Jody?
that can't open the bottle of wine.
Is it Jody? Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Aaron was what's her name? Oh God, I can see her face, but I can't see her name.
Wait a minute, it's in my
Jody.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Joanne? Yeah.
Diana, yeah, yeah. Speaking of them, they're up next anyway.
Mm,
They had a very awkward pose, but yeah,
mm,
but getting back to what I was trying to say, my point I was trying to make was that I felt before Dominique went home that there was a possible connection brewing, but he got kicked out too quick because he really didn't. I don't think he was very attracted to Alexis physically, her face, her shape, or whatever it was, the way it all came together. He wasn't attracted to her as he was to some of the other women in the house. That's the
mhm.
feeling that I got. So if there's some sneaky links going on, we're gonna see that maybe later on. But let's talk about Joanne, and Alphabet Guy, Aaron.
Alphabet.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, because
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
the that he said that I thought was interesting. He said, It's going to be interesting. I'm going to wonder how it's going to feel when we actually get to this point of intimacy." It was almost like he was saying that he had never been with a woman. I don't know. Maybe that's just the narrative they're creating for this gentleman. Maybe I'm looking into it too deeply. Uh, what did you think about them? They picked a pose where they weren't facing each other. He was behind her. She was looking at the ground, or I guess it would be the bed if they were in the bedroom. And there really wasn't much chemistry. And he didn't seem to know how his anatomical part fit into her anatomical part. Like he was confused.
Well, I mean, I think her angst and disgust with him goes back to the first episode when he couldn't open up the wine. Didn't know how to use a corkscrew to open up the wine bottle. Number
Okay.
two, he somehow he wanted salsa. Now I took a class in salsa, and then he did not know how to do that. And then I mean, I think she was just over. She gave the date a 6 out of 10, and I think really that she really doesn't like him. She just like, okay,
Nah, I don't think she does either.
And then just like when the question was asked her, she used it in general terms. She wasn't talking about herself. Like Taronda said, "Look, I'm talking about you. Now I'm not talking about in general what women think. I'm talking about you." That's it. She never answered that question. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't see her really liking him at all, at
Mhm.
all. Um, I'm with you.
Mm.
I'm with you on that, Sean. What about you, Jr.?
Yeah, right. So she picked the position, and she picked the position to basically have the least intimacy that she possibly could. Because if you're face down on the ground, there's no eye contact. You look at the ants or who's down there. Um, and like I can see why because you're basically just sitting on the back of her legs. There's like, what are you doing? There's no intimacy in that position at all. And I think one of the most telling things is that in the confessional, um, who was it? I think it was. Let me think. Who was it that said that their connection just doesn't seem real? Um,
Jr. Jr. I don't
yeah.
know if it's just me, but I think we're getting. I'm not sure if the connection or the
I
internet
hear it
connection
too.
is strong. Okay, you hear too. Can you maybe redirect your laptop or something where you get a stronger
Wow.
signal because you're kind of in and out.
Okay, maybe it's my headphones. Is that any better?
Your sound is better, so continue on. Go ahead. You were saying.
Okay, yeah. So what I was saying is that position wasn't an intimate position at all, right? He's sitting on the top of her legs. There is no eye contact. There's no embrace. There's no anything. So pretty useless. That pose shouldn't have been an option, to be honest. But I think some of these poses were put there to see what people choose in order to not open up, which is difficult to do in the setting for some people. So it's really going to challenge them to see whether they're vulnerable enough at that moment or how well the person they've been talking to. And what that showed me, and just one of the classmates mentioned, is that there doesn't seem to be a genuine connection there at all.
Well, I think the other thing is that with her, she's the one that picked the pose. It was not like, well, what do you think we should
That's
do?
what I said. Yeah,
Yeah,
she picked the pose.
she did. Yeah.
Oh, well, she didn't have to look at him. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point. The least intimate position she could get into, just lay flat down on the floor, look at him, not have any eye contact or embrace or anything, and he's just sitting on the back of her legs. There's nothing there.
Yeah,
And
I know.
she tried to over philosophize it, right? Just like the guy said, she tried to talk about, tried to give a whole thesis. Now she is a sex therapist, right?
I'm sorry. I'm over here dying. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, but at the same time, Baby Doll and White Valentine with the rainbow and the zesty got me knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But you're saying, yeah, she definitely wasn't looking at him. She's not feeling
No,
him.
not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. Now she's a sex therapist, so she knows the difference between intimacy and sex. She coaches it for a living. So I would have thought that she would have come with something more, something to. If she was connected to him, she would want to be vulnerable with him or have an intimate connection with him.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing. She's a sex therapist by trade. So
Jody or Joanna as she's called, depending on, because I guess she goes by Jody also. Jody is the one that was very hypercritical of the date last week too with Aaron, right? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. Okay, we got a little bit more left. Okay, we got
Sienna.
Shay. No, we're coming to them. We're coming to them. We're easing up on them, but we got Josh and oh no, we did them already. We did them already.
Did Josh and Shay.
Yeah, we did Josh and Shay. My bad. I did a double thing here.
So
Okay, I'm sorry. Greg and Millie.
Greg
And
and Millie.
then the last one is Diamond and Aaron. Okay, Greg and Millie, the ones that both live in LA, and as people are pointing out, they are both unusually, exceptionally attractive. They decided to do the eagle pose and looked quite comfortable doing that eagle pose too. What did you guys think of their chemistry and all? Do you guys think, because some of the people in the chat are saying that they could be plants? What do you guys think? We'll start over here with Sean.
They could very well be. They two aesthetically pleasing looking people. I mean, look like they have face made for TV, so they could be very well industry plants.
Okay. That's a thought.
LA, hey, LA, I noticed that there's not a lot of talk about what these people do for a living, but yeah, LA.
No, you're right, and they both live in LA. I think it was White Valentine that said they are both unusually attractive. Indeed, they are. They are both good looking. And man, does he have a set of abs? What is our trainer? What is our physical trainer?
He got an 8-pack, don't he?
Yeah. What say you, JR, Mr. VIP? What do you say about that 6-pack abs that we saw when he was out at the tub by the pool? What do you say about that?
Obviously, someone that takes care of themselves, looks after himself. Also, looks like Lenny Kravitz or Maxwell, one of them type of dudes. His girl, definitely on the attractive side as well. The thing that gives me suspicion is the whole living in the same state, living in the same area, and not going to see each other physically. And they've been together for 3 years, I think it was. So That's the biggest takeaway for me. Um, why I would have any skepticism, but I think they genuinely like each other. I think they're attracted to each other. They seem quite open, comfortable, and vulnerable with each other as well. Um, so yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of the more successful couples so far that we've seen.
Okay. Last name first. She asked a question. I guess this could be to me. I'm going to give it to the panel as well. I'll chime in. Is there room or safe space for sexual inexperience in men, or do we expect and require them that they be playboys before settling down? You guys want to jump in, and then I'll save my answer for last. Jr. Do you think that there is a safe space for men that are men that happen to be sexually inexperienced, maybe virgins, or maybe just not virgins, but just haven't had a lot of experience? They're not players, they're not playboys. Um, do we women give them safe space and grace in that department?
I think there are some ladies that find it appealing because they want to teach the guy or be the one of the guys first, if not the first, um,
Okay, okay.
or show them the ropes, right? And then
Hmm.
there probably is a larger group of ladies who think, you know, you should know what you're doing. I don't want this guy coming. Like, he gets given an opportunity, he's going to fumble around and not know how to work the equipment. So, yeah, I think there is a section very critical about it. But, you know, uh, not, I would probably say a lot of guys, probably more than you would think, they're not really sexually active as much as you may think they are. Um, they don't have a lot of the things that a lot of ladies are setting as criteria these days. So they're automatically out of the running. So, you know, there may be some guys that haven't in a while or haven't been intimate at all. Like, and then on the sexual aspect, there may not be many virgins, but again, you only get better with practice. And if you're not practicing regularly, then you're not going to be on top of your game when you get the opportunity. So I think there are a large section of women who expect a man to know what he's doing when he's in the bedroom, no doubt. Sean, your thoughts?
Um, well, I don't know how many women today are apt to teach in our hypersexualized culture that we live in. Um, Lord have mercy, Jesus. I don't know what to say on that. Um, I think I think a lot of women want a man that knows what he's doing, knows what he's doing. Um, Now he might be a gently used vehicle, or have you, not a vehicle with a lot of mileage on it, but he might be just gently used or what have you. He's not a brand new, right off the lot vehicle, but um, and I think it's very rare that you will find a woman that has a lot of experience that will deal with a man that has had no experience at all, because the idea is that what can he do for me? You know, what can he show me that I have not done or seen, or what have you? So I don't think too many women are apt to teach a man that way because of that. Um, I mean, like you said, I don't think a lot of women want the men just fumbling around and trying to figure out, what I do, how do I do this, So that's just my cup of tea on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to get a rookie the cookie.
And the rookie and the cookie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The rookie and the cookie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some ladies may not have the patience to teach a guy
Oh
what
yeah.
she never really likes in bed, expect to come and figure it out, you know. Um, but I think that's also to do with intimacy as well. Like you have to kind of teach your partner or show your partner what you like and what you don't like,
Hmm. Well, I do
and
like
that
what she
comes with.
said. Yeah, I do like what Millie said. Millie said that he's got to get here first, you know,
Mm,
in the mind to the mind.
hmm
And I think if a lot of women keep that in mind, you know, no play on the word mind, but keep that, you know, get the mind before you get the body, you know. And a lot of times, some men will rather get the body, and I don't care what you're thinking, you know, because you could be bat crap crazy, you know, what have you.
mm,
And so, you know, and I think that that's an older woman mentality right there. Or some older women, I should not all, but some older women
mm,
mentality. Get my mind first, then the body will follow. What have you? You know, value my opinion. What you know, see me. What do I think? Value my opinion. You know, hear my process. You know, versus first trying to get the goodies. You know what I'm saying? So, but the question I think you know some women don't want to. She said she has kind of a fumbler years ago, decades ago, and she was immediately unattracted. So, yeah, I don't think women want a fumbler. You know, I think they want a man that knows how to drive a car.
mm. Yeah, and I also feel like when it comes to the you know get to the mind first to unlock the body. I don't see and Jodie. I don't see them overcoming that. I think she was turned off by the wine bottle. He wasn't able to open it. But then again, he's not a drinker. That whole date
Hmm.
was tailored toward not necessarily what they. It was more about what she likes to do. So he was out of his depth, putting on the wine date and all that stuff, and him being exposed like that, um, definitely took a view that you know uh, maybe this ain't gonna work. So I don't think he's gonna be able to get to the mind in order to unlock the body, and if he does, I think he's gonna be a fumbler.
Hmm.
To be honest, he seems like that type of
Well, last thing first.
Aubrey. What do you think?
Yeah, I think she gone. She's frozen.
Aubrey's awfully quiet right now.
Yeah, Aubrey's quiet. I like last thing first said. Millie is unattracted to Greg. She said she needs an alpha
Oh,
male. So
oh, okay. Wait a minute. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay, 'cause I was trying
I
about
can
three or
hear
four
you now.
times
Yeah.
to speak. Okay, okay. My mic came. It came out. It loosened, and I didn't see that it was loosened. So okay, sorry about that.
You fumble
No,
the mic. You
I was
fumble the mic.
I fumbled the mic. I fumbled the mic. I was gonna say to Jr. You were just saying a second ago. You were saying about the fumbling, but I was trying to ask you, Greg. We were talking about Greg. Greg is the one that looks like Lenny Kravitz. Do you think that he's a fumbler? Because he's giving me kind of a little bit of player vibes.
No, 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 no. Greg and his girl, I think they're cool. They're open. They're calm. And what I was saying is that's completely the opposite of maybe Aaron, right? I think
Hmm.
Greg and his girl, probably with them, I think they'll eventually get to that point, probably sooner rather than later, where they are exploring more than just an intimate connection. They're going to get to the sexual.
Yeah, yeah, I can feel it for them. I really can feel it for them. Rainbow guy, I don't feel it for him. I don't know the woman, the black woman that wants a rainbow guy all up inside of her cookie. It's not a good thing. It's giving no, no. But I want to get specific with last name first with her side note. like, is there room or safe space for sexually inexperienced men? As a seasoned woman at this point in my life, I would say no. But as a younger woman, I would say I always had, back in the day, and which is why I could never understand. I always had this formula and this understanding, this intuitiveness, and this ability to use my five senses with a gentleman, to find out if we were compatible. So I would always be like concerned when women would say, "Well, we got intimate. We went to the boom boom room, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be," because I don't understand that. As a woman, you have the ability to find out when you're dancing with a gentleman what that package is packaging like, right?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I mean, I could go on. I could teach a class literally because there's five things, like there's five steps, but how you not know that you're not going to work out with the guy in that aspect of your being. I don't understand that any adult woman does not know this. Now, for the gentleman, to be fair, for the gentleman, that's something that they can't find out until they're actually there, right? But for
Mm-hmm.
women, it is so easily accessible. And the first thing I'm gonna just give you the first tip, free of charge. If a gentleman, if you're oral like I am, if a gentleman cannot kiss you properly to where you're tingling all the way down your spine and
Mm.
into your baby toe, then that tells you right there that thing ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work with you and him. You don't have the chemistry. It's not gonna work. So for me, I've always had that intuitiveness about me and never really had a bad experience because it's knowing, and for a woman there are easy ways, five steps and easy ways to know if that is going to be a good experience for you or not. So I don't think there's any room for women to say, an experienced woman to say that no, it ended up being a bad situation. That's on you as a woman because you should be checking. You should be checking. You can check. There's no way if you like the six or the seven or the eight, there's no way you don't know that before you get your clothes off. There's no way you
Mm.
don't know that. Okay. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If you're saying that you got with somebody and it didn't work out the way, you must have went on the first day and had relations and hot and heavy time on the first day before you dance with this person, before he ever gave you a kiss goodnight. Because there's no way for us ladies not to know what we like unless you're a virgin.
Mhm.
Okay, there's no way.
Mhm.
I call BS on the women that are out here saying that it didn't work. I'm calling BS because you already know. Like the first time I danced with the guy, a slow dance, and I couldn't feel nothing. It didn't take much for him to tell me shortly after that he has a problem in that area. Young guy in his 20s, has
Woo.
a had an ED problem years ago before the Viagra stuff came out, right? But so I'm trying to tell you, like, if a man's attracted to you and you slow dancing with him and you ain't feeling nothing, what's that song? What's that song, Sean? I know you know all the songs that are songing. What's that
Okay,
song
what's
about
up?
slow dancing? That 90s song, R&B song about the slow dancing.
Well, I like okay, I like when you shake it like ooh,
Yep.
you dancing
Mhm.
real close. Okay, yeah.
Sing
Swing
it,
real
Sean.
slow.
Get it
Okay,
done.
okay. Oh yeah. I
But
can tell
all
you're
of that,
excited. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay,
all
yeah.
of that. Like, so if you're a
Yeah.
woman and you're with a guy and you slow dancing at that club or even at your house, his house, and you can't feel no excitement, there's an issue. You ain't even
Okay.
got to take your clothes off. You ain't even got to come out your top. No bono. Pass,
Well,
pass, pass.
well, people don't slow drag anymore, look, Aubrey.
They don't? What
People do.
the?
People do. People lying.
The
People
truth
lying.
is,
That people do too busy line dancing now.
I think I ran JR away. I think I ran him off. I ran
People
JR
like
completely
people too.
off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully it'll be back. People too busy line dancing now.
Yeah.
So everything's a line dance. I mean, I miss the days of the slow drag when you get that good feel and that closeness there. And woo. Anyway, but anyway, that's yeah.
People don't slow
Um,
dance anymore. I mean, it's been a
no,
long time since I've
you
been
don't
to a
you
bar
don't
or
you don't
club.
you don't you don't you don't hear the slow music on the dance floor anymore. Everything is a
Mm.
Beyonce. Everything is a Beyonce or Tamia line dance or electric slide
Oh
line dance
yeah.
or a Cupid shuffle
Okay.
line dance or
Okay. Well,
you know.
women
I
are
mean,
being cheated then. Women are being cheated.
well,
women,
I
women
think
are
the
being
idea is that
cheated.
I think the idea now is that there's not a lot of music to produce the closeness anymore
Ah.
among much younger folks because a lot of younger people today are not interested in being close with each other. What
Right.
have
That's
you?
how we get to the choke versus spank. That's how we get
Choke
there.
respect, yeah. And so there's
Yeah,
no
my pastor
intimate,
said that. My pastor
yeah.
said
There's
that a
no,
while ago. No, go ahead.
yeah.
Here he is.
And
Go ahead.
there's no intimate bond created between the two. What have
JR,
you?
JR,
So
I thought I had ran you off there with my comments, but go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
so there's no intimate bond created there. So everything is almost a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's
Oh
no
my
take
Lord.
your time. It's not a take your time. Like the SOS band said, take baby, we can do it. Take your time, do it right. It's no take your time and do it right, but it's everything's a rush, what have you. It's not a slow thing, you know. It's not we today I think we've gotten into the mode of we want more of a we don't want a the price that it takes to make a masterpiece on canvas.
Ah.
We
Well,
just want a
what is
quick
it?
fast drop because
Microwave.
we want a microwave generation. We want our food
Mhm.
fast. We want our love making fast. We want everything else fast. Now for the people in our age category and the people on in the chat room in our age category, most of the time we like it slower pace, slower pace. We're not rabbits. We're not rabbits. What have you. So we like to take the time with it, what have you. Versus a lot of younger people today, the lack of patience with it. Like boom, boom. Okay, is this thing on? Okay, okay, that's too much. That's too much work trying to do it slow. Hey, I'm just ready to get off, and you get off too. That's it. If that,
I,
or it ain't my fault
I,
that you didn't get. I got mine. You
what
know.
do you think about this comment? Last name first also just said a common theme is she's noticing on the show is being a student, and also being authentic and trying to be something you're not is unattractive to others, and not being a student of the subject you want to learn is unattractive, i.e., for the men learning the women. And I guess I would say to flip that around too, the women learning the men and their likes and dislikes. That's an excellent point. That's a
Very
very
good point.
excellent
Very good
point.
point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a very good point because that's the other thing that I was going to say. That's part of the 5 point lesson plan is that if you find you're dating a guy that doesn't try to make you happy in the terms of the type of dates that he's taking you on. He doesn't care about your opinion if your food is tasty or not. He's not trying to be a problem solver to some degree. Not saying that he has to go back in the kitchen and cook it himself, but if you find that your guy doesn't really care about your happiness in the smaller things, that's going to also apply in the bedroom, which is going to be another of the 5 point facets. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy, and vice versa. Jr,
It
you
works. It
seem to
works
be
the other
itching
way
in
as
your
well.
seat. Go ahead and say something.
Yeah, it also works the other way as well. Like if
Yeah,
you know you're
absolutely.
not you know you're let's just say your puppy and they're not being taken care of, then you're gonna lose interest very quickly as well. And that's why it's important to have intimacy because you can connect deeper, and that will make it easier for you to connect sexually. But there's a very difference, there's a difference between the two things. But they intimacy can lead to a very vibrant sex life. But it depends on your connection and how open and honest you are, and how vulnerable you are with discussing that topic. And if your mind's already made up that you've got, um, you know, the ick, or you're not feeling the person, or whatever it may be, then sometimes it can be very hard to for that to change. So I feel like, especially with Jody and Aaron, um, yeah, I don't see that getting started. To be honest, you know, they look
You
so.
got on me. You got on me when I said that. So wait a minute. How can you say now that you don't see those two working out, Jody and Aaron?
Nah, I don't, because like I said, I just feel like there was no this challenge to there was just no effort put in to be in an intimate position. It was just not. It wasn't it wasn't the type of connection that you would have thought they could build on from. Like, looking at that, they could have been just sitting there as two people that had never spoken at all and asked to get into some twister positions. It looked like they were playing twister.
Okay, yeah, it did. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
It absolutely looked like they were playing Twister. You are absolutely right. That is exactly what it looked like. And last thing on this on my side, is like the host said, Taronda said, why did they pick a pose where they're not facing each other, where they would talk about intimacy? Part of the intimacy would have been gazing into each other's eyes. But communication is key. This is another thing where I thought this exercise was actually good, because if you notice, one of the couples, or two of the couples, the gentleman actually asked the women, "Is it okay? Can I move
Hmm.
your leg this way, that way?" And that's very real, because when you're in the intimate space of the bedroom and you got all your clothes off and you're doing all this stuff, you better know, you better hope, and you better understand that you got communication verbally, visually, and that man is listening to you, what you say you want and what you don't want. Because if for some reason, JR had to go behind the scenes there, because for some reason, if he doesn't, like, I've had girlfriends that have told me, they were in a situation physically where things went awry, and if that guy
Hmm.
doesn't want to, if he doesn't want to stop, if he doesn't want to yield, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Hmm. Well, I mean, uh, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of dysfunction in the music nowadays that create this stuff with the whole romance and love and everything. Okay, let me give you an example. Keith Sweat. I wanna tease you. I wanna please you. I wanna show you, baby, that I need you. Who can? They say, I want you to holler when you want me to stop. Why do you?
Oh
why,
Lord.
why,
Are we taking him literally? Are we taking him literally on on those
I mean,
lyrics? Are we taking
it's the dysfunctional lyrics that people are listening to that create these crazy narratives in our head nowadays. Want you to holler when you want me to stop. Hey, stop. You know, but you know, versus you go back in the day, go back to the OJs. I said, just let me make love to you. Let me kiss your eyes, make your tears, wipe your tears away, and then da, 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 da. Tomorrow we'll feel better. It's a brand new day. Just let me make love to you, baby. The OJs, go back to that song. Much different, much different. Talking about the same scenario. We both talking about the horizontal mambo. But one, you want the woman to holler when she wants you to stop. The other one, he said, but the other one, he
I'm
said,
going I'm gonna I'm
let me
gonna
kiss your eyes, let
assume
me
that's
kiss your tears away. I know
that he
I
said
know it's figurative. I know it's figurative, but I was just
figurative,
messing.
yeah, yeah. But that's a
Yeah,
good example. To your
yeah.
point, White Valentine, I got to get back to my second home. She's saying that the Houston, I remember those hole in the walls. They used to play blues, but she's saying now they're playing the '90s slow drag, and they will slow drag you to death. Yeah, and the crowd is 45 and up. I love it. I've got
That's
to come
good.
visit
That's
then.
good.
That's what's up.
I gotta
Any
find a
places
place like
like
that in
that?
Dallas. I got to find
Yeah, I
one
was
in
just
Dallas.
about to ask you. So for planning for my visit there, so are there any little hole in the walls that play the slow drag music, the '90s R&B?
The only place I can tell you is Club Ritzy. That's over in Fort Worth. What Ritzy over in Fort Worth? That's nice.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
expecting you to take me there. So okay. All right. So let's
Yes,
wrap
ma'am.
let's get to wrapping things
Hey,
up.
hey,
We
you,
got
you, hey, you forgot about Brendan and
Diamond,
Sierra.
no. Diamond and
Brendan and Sierra.
no, I haven't forgotten about them. I got a couple more tickers. That's
Oh, you do.
coming.
Oh, you do.
But
Okay,
I,
I
I'm
apologize.
still
I
I'm still
apologize.
doing the no, that's okay. Diamond and Aaron, they did the splitting bamboo pose real quick. What did you guys think about that? That was one of the poses that they were one of the couples where Aaron had to ask her, and I loved it. I love his communication. He talks about how the two of them are very affectionate. They don't mind crowds. They don't mind people kind of watching, checking them out. He said he would literally drop down in the street and suck her toe. He would get
He
on bended
lying.
knee and
He know he's lying. He lying
he
like
could
he's
be
not.
lying. He could be
Yeah,
lying. He
yeah,
could be. But what
yeah,
I'm saying about the splitting bamboo pose, he handled that quite well. He looked
yeah.
like
He
he
handled that
didn't need
well.
any. He didn't need any videos. He didn't need no YouTube to teach him. He knew exactly what went where, and I like that he communicated with her. So, what did you think about that, Sean?
Hmm. What I think about him, he did communicate very well with her because he said I like the way he said we both feel comfortable. I feel comfortable now. I know she feels comfortable and what have you. And she let him take the lead. And whether he's trying to get out of the doghouse from putting the ring on social media that he was gonna give it to another woman or not and overdoing it, I don't know. In that moment, I think he was good.
Okay, I think so too. I think so too. I think these two have chemistry. I'm still kind of watching Diamond because it looks like we got coming up next week some doubts that are in her mind still from the situation that happened, I guess, where he was on Facebook and posted some wedding ring and he was going to propose to another woman. So I don't know. What about you, Jr.? What are your thoughts about
Hmm.
this couple? The last couple to do the Kama Sutra pose was Diamond and Aaron.
Hmm. I think I think this couple will have potential. He seems very wise, and in terms of their connection, they seem to have one. And I like the way he communicated with her before he just grabbed her leg and did all that stuff. And I think she's very comfortable with him, and I think she's very warm to him, right? Um, and to be honest, them like him being as old as he is, I was thinking he may need some WD-40 in his joints or some cod liver
Yeah,
oils or something. He might pull something, but
but
no.
now
On a serious
that's
note,
true.
you know, they have a good connection. They're probably my second or third pick to probably see it through at this moment, unless something problematic happens.
Okay.
Um, I get it about the engagement ring situation, but I'd need to know more about that before I completely write them off.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with
But
you.
now,
And also,
Aubrey. Go ahead. Go
Wait,
I
ahead.
wait,
will
wait, wait.
say
Hold on,
he
Sean.
apologized as well. Like he did actually make an apology for what happened, and I think he has explained to her why it happened. So maybe she just hasn't been able to let it go. But go ahead.
Mm.
I think nah, maybe I need to say that comment. I don't want to offend nobody. But
Okay, yeah, don't offend nobody. Don't offend
I
nobody.
ain't trying,
Don't
I don't
hurt
want to offend
nobody
nobody,
over
but
here.
I ain't gonna try to hurt nobody, but I don't think he wanted her to sit on him. I mean, she ain't a small woman like the other women. I mean,
You know,
I
baby.
don't think
Well,
so.
no, no.
So
If you're talking about Diamond, Diamond didn't sit
yeah,
on him.
down. No, I
Diamond
said
didn't.
no. So all those other sitting on the part, the poses was
Oh,
gone. They were gone.
Oh,
So
got you.
that was a
Got you.
good that was a good safe one there that they did. You know
Yeah, she was
yeah,
on her back, right? She was on her
yeah,
back.
yeah. So you know I mean I think that
All
those
right, all
cars
right.
were
Before we
strategically placed. You know.
Yeah, they were strategically shuffled. You're right. Okay, so now to what Sean was talking about. Let's move on. Let's move on. Sienna from New York City and Brendan from Hollywood, Florida. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I think we did them already, didn't we?
No.
No, we didn't.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't do
Yeah,
that.
so
That's
they
what I was
are the
talking
last
about.
pose. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what.
that's what I
Yeah,
was talking
because I
about.
thought you were
Yeah,
talking about the part that comes right after this. But yeah,
yeah,
their pose was the ship pose, right?
yeah.
What did you think about how well did they work their pose? He was the one that said he was like he could turn on the TV like he was kind of bored, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Uh,
Jr.
listen, she chose the position because it was the easiest position to get into, and
Mm-hmm.
it didn't require any work to get into an intimate position, an intimate connection. And
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Tyronda called her out on it as
yes.
well. So he went along with it. And when he realized he's just laying on his back and all he can see is the back of her head, and uh, yeah, that's not intimacy. That's not going to turn anybody on, right?
Mm-mm.
She was
No.
sitting there in like the Buddha pose,
Right. Right.
not
Right.
facing him, no interaction, no eye contact, nothing.
She don't like him.
So yeah, he's gonna lay back there and he's like, what are we doing here? He might as well have watched TV. It would
Mm-hmm.
have been more stimulating.
Yeah.
But
Mm-mm.
I'm glad Tyronda probed and asked her why she chose that position, and also told her that it's the position that required the least amount of work. So that shows that
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't really feel vulnerable with having that type of connection at this moment. She just wanted to get it over and done with, just to say they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was very sad because if we as women flipped that around and the guy said, "I just want to get this over as fast as possible," we would be highly offended. So I was offended for him. I really was. I was offended for him. I was. Sean, what were your thoughts?
I agree. It was very lazy level actually.
Mm,
No
lazy
effort
lover.
in it. I mean, it's just like somebody gives you a card, a generic card, and it doesn't say anything. You know, it's like okay, blah, met. You know, um, like when you give someone a card, it looks good on the outside, but then when you turn it on the inside, it says like thank you. It doesn't have a long paragraph or something, right? It's not given. It's not given. Um, so I mean she looked like she may have been reading it wrong. I'm not sure, but I mean she was more into him with the cooking class than anything. But the idea that Kama Sutra, oh, no, she wasn't into him. She wasn't feeling him,
I'm
not at
getting
all.
and you guys tell me if what you see as men, but I'm getting from her very much pretty privilege. Like I'm so fine, I'm so cute that anything I do,
Yeah.
anything I say will be acceptable because you've never been with a woman as fine as me. That's the vibe I'm getting from her,
Hmm.
especially with the yoga pose. Like she is really giving like, hey, I don't like you said, it's the easiest thing, and just because I'm beautiful, you should automatically be grateful to be with me.
And well, she's using her age to her advantage too. She's 43, he's 35.
Right.
You're a little boy, almost like a little boy. You're a little boy. You're a little
Yeah,
boy.
but 35, even though I get that he's younger than her, he's much younger than her, but 35 is a full-grown man and he handles himself. Here's the extra special kicker. He handles himself better than she does. He has more
Yeah.
maturity, more self-control, which we about to talk about in a second with what she says to him. but he has much more self-control and is a better listener than her. So all the way around, even though chronologically she's 7, 8 years older than him, he's giving off full grown man vibes and she's giving off teenage pretty girl, mean girl vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So
True.
I mean, I'm not feeling her. She's a beautiful looking lady, but it's some people that don't understand because they've had pretty privilege their entire life. They don't understand that there's more to you than what is on the outside. It's actually how you treat people. It's
Hmm.
actually how
Hmm.
you treat people and make people feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. That's my thought on her. But let's go ahead and skip to. I think we talked enough about that. Um, it starts off with the two of them. Um, they
Shooting
get
pool.
to talking about they're playing pool. Fast forward, we're in the next scene. They get to playing pool. Sienna and Brandon, and they're talking about relocation as they're playing pool. And what do you think, JR? What is your take when the man talks about leaving his home and coming there? He's trying to tell her that in Florida is beautiful. That's where all the Northerners, the New Yorkers, the East Coast gang that's up north during their earlier years, they bring all their fortune and their money goes a lot further in the South down in Florida. What do you think about this scene? What do you think about this relocation talk that they're having?
Well, this is where it started to go downhill
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like they've had this conversation before, and
Hmm.
they played the clip where she said she was very much open to moving from New York to Florida. Right? She said that previously. So he's been under the impression that that was the direction that they were heading. So during this pool game where she expresses that she no longer wants to do that, why don't he come to her? I think that kind of started that started the snowball effect. He may be 35, but as she started to bring up, he's got children and a few other things. So I think he has roots in Florida that he can't easily move away from like that. Whereas she doesn't have any situation there other than maybe her work and family, but she's expressed that she's willing to move despite all of that.
Yeah. Plus, he's got a young
So I
child.
can see why he says there was an inconsistency with the conversation now and where it's heading, because that's not what you were saying before when we didn't meet. Now we've met, and now
Yeah.
you're changing. Now you're changing what we've spoken about. Yeah, that's inconsistent.
Yeah. And she got upset. She said, I've heard that before. Remember when she said, I've heard that before from two or three other
Yep,
sources? And what did he ask her?
right.
What did he ask her,
She's
JR?
heard that before, and this is the thing. Like, so when he's trying to probe, why have you heard that before? You know, we have to be real. The common denominator out of all of those guys
Her.
saying that, him now saying it, is her. So there's something about
Mm-hmm.
the way she's been either withholding bits of herself or changing her mind or changing the plans or whatever, or getting cold feet, whatever she puts it down to. But it's led to people calling her consistent, the people that she's considered love interests or potential partners. Now, she got extremely triggered by that, and she completely, in my opinion, ruined their connection. And I'll tell you why. Because her choice of verbiage when she was called out about her
Mm-hmm.
inconsistency went from 0 to 10, and she then started to insult him and call him a beach, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Now,
I was
so
outdone.
in that moment, she got so heated, right, over something quite small. This is an intelligent lady, and like you said, she's got age and wisdom over him. So she could have calmly composed herself and explained why she now has a change of heart about moving. But what she chose to do instead was insult him emasculate him on TV.
Yeah.
In private, it's still bad, but
Yeah.
she just didn't care about the setting that they're in or anything. She immediately went to that, and she said it more than once. It wasn't a slip of the
Mm-hmm.
tongue, or she said it a few times. So she meant it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she said, "Didn't you hear me?" She like made a
Mm-hmm.
point of it to call him a bitch.
Exactly.
Right.
Sabotage their connection straight away. Now he seems so mild mannered and so he seems so able to compose himself that unfortunately gave her the green light to keep going even stronger in her negativity towards him.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that she then, after emasculating him and weaponizing stuff, that all the stuff that she'd known about him, about his previous marriage, children, all of that, she then started to throw that
Yes.
in his face too.
Yes. You don't keep your vows. You don't really
Exactly.
respect marriage. You tried marriage, that didn't work. Then you tried making
Exactly.
a mother out of this other woman, that didn't work.
Right.
You didn't stay with her. So what am I, until the women pointed out, well, haven't you had failed relationships? And then she kind of
Exactly.
trying to diminish it and say, well, yeah, I've had failed relationships, but no failed marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because nobody got to the point where they wanted to ask you to be their wife. Maybe that's
Exactly.
why.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Exactly. And
What?
that's probably because of her inconsistency. That's why she ain't got there either. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
at the end of the day, what she did was all the time that they've been speaking and getting to know each other, when she got heated, she deliberately started to bring up stuff about what he had told her. So you're not a safe space anymore either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He
True.
can't confide in you no more. He can't come and bond with you like that no more. Because now
Yeah.
you're throwing it back in his face, the things that he shared with you. And you're doing it in a malicious way to try and humble or demean him because he said something that you didn't like. And it wasn't disrespectful what he said. He merely pointed out something that you've heard before by your previous partners. They've said the exact same thing. You flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
you you said that you were cool with doing something, and now you're getting cold feet or you're changing your mind and you're not giving a reason for it. Now you're just getting heated and hostile about it. So you're not even prepared to have a conversation.
Mm-mm.
You're now turning it into a slanging match where you're insulting and cursing him out. And then after you've even done that, you have the audacity to go and try and get the rest of the group to try and pile in on him as well, as if it's him that's the problem in the situation.
Right.
And rightfully, you had some of the ladies and a few of the other guys saying, "What are you talking about? Don't you think you're being too critical and too judgmental about, with what you're doing right now?" She still didn't see any error in her ways. It's like she doubled down and said, "Well, I've never been married and da da da." Yo, the fact of the matter is, you're now going too far because you should have stopped at when you insulted man, calling him a biatch, but you
Right.
didn't. You've now gone and started weaponizing, and now you try to get the rest of the group on side to try and gang up on him, right? So I think he handled it respectfully, and I think he respectfully needs to let her go because it's still too early before you've got deep. Like you're not in too deep. You haven't had an intimate moment yet because you failed the intimacy challenge based on the position that she chose,
Right.
right? You're not
And
gonna.
the way she executed it, might I add, the way she executed it.
There you go. You're not gonna knock the boots, so there's not gonna be that soul tie connection either. So yeah, it's time. It's time to pack the bags and leave. That's what that is. Time to
Ah,
let
yeah.
her go. Let her go and find a place to heal first, because whatever these other three guys have said about her is still happening now. So she's not ready.
She to me, she sounds very vindictive.
Yes.
The reason why say that, now, if those two scenes are shot in sequence, she claimed that what he said when he said we boy, that killed the mood for her. And then right after that, they showed us pool scene. And so I think if those two scenes are in sequence with one another, then because you killed my mood because I said I'm feeling something, and then she automatically said, "Well, I really wasn't feeling anything." Da 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 da. But he just killed the mood for me. Da 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 da, and so forth. So, but to call a man a capital B, like JL said, it's emasculating, but it also I think it questions his sexuality. That's what she was calling the question. Because of anything to call a man, you can call a man an a-hole, you can call him a punk AMF, and call a man a B when
Hmm.
that word has been commonly thrown and used in women's circles for each other. You're basically saying this man has a woman tendencies. When women use
Well,
that
she
for each other, oh,
doesn't.
that's my friend term of endearment. We call each other that. We call it. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
No, I'm sorry to
go ahead,
interrupt you,
Aubrey.
but I was gonna say, here's what I was gonna say to you. There's some lag too, so I understand that. But I think, do you feel like I get what you're saying, but do you feel like it's her questioning his sexuality, or as a man, do you feel like she just simply does not respect him as a person and as a man?
Well, she doesn't respect him
That's
as a
it. She
man. It's a whole it's a whole lot of things. It's all of the above. She doesn't
Okay.
respect him as a man, and I think that's a safe space. I mean, like Jr. said, there's scripture about say, "Guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life." And so
Yes.
maybe he might have overshared with her, and she used that. And sometimes one thing we as men we hate when I share something intimate with you, for you to use it back against me as a weapon against me. You know, and when he told her about his marriage, and he stepped out on his marriage, and then he tried to have an affair with this woman, and that ended, and what have you. And he realized as a man, I think, and what's the name? Jody was saying that even in her faults, say, look, how old were you? You were 21, you're 20 years old, right? Now you're 35. 15 years. You don't think this man changed in 15 years? What have you.
Yes.
So I think he's done more changing and she has not evolved. I think
Mm.
who she is who she's always been. And like you said, to use your word, Aubrey, quote, she's had pretty privilege. And I think
mhm.
I'm not gonna say it's the colorism thing, but I think it's the pretty privilege thing piece, what have you. Um, and she just knows she's the stuff, long
Oh yeah.
legs, blah blah blah.
That girl is
And
gorgeous.
yeah,
Look,
she fine, she fine.
she
But
she
when
fine
she open
fine.
her mouth, she fine fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
until she opened her mouth, and that's what
till she
my
open her
parents used
mouth.
to say. When you
That's
open
it.
your mouth, you show who you really truly are. She fine fine on the outside, but on the inside, she's a monster.
She's mad, yeah. And so that's what took all the attractiveness away with me from her for her. Because when she said, I mean, and
And
then, well, I know you haven't gotten to that scene yet about the share, him sharing with the young lady and her sharing with the guy, Greg, him
No,
sharing
go
with Millie. And she
ahead.
said,
Go ahead. Commence us into that scene because this is all wrapped into this one thing. So go ahead. Go ahead. Take us
that was
into
very
that.
hypocritical because she was having the same conversation about him with Greg, and he was
Yes.
having a conversation about her with
mhm,
Millie, and that was very hypocritical of her to get upset with him. He
Hmm.
shared with another woman about me. He talking to another woman about me. He talking to another woman. He had nerve to be talking to another woman about me. Well, weren't you just talking about him to another guy?
mhm,
So I mean, what's the point? What's the point?
mhm,
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah, and
point?
if you into your
Um,
point, I just want to say this real quick, Sean. You bring up an excellent point. If you
yeah.
notice, as I was watching as a viewer, two or three things that she did was very hypocritical, and that smashed the button right in our face because when she said while they were go back a
Mhm.
little bit, uh, when they were playing pool and when she was calling him a biche. But then she was also in her confessional telling the audience in the confessional, well, he just says whatever comes out his mouth and he don't care about how I feel. But lady, you just called him a biche. And maybe I'm losing that term lady
She's
very
doing the
loosely
same
these
thing.
days. Yeah, she's calling him a beast, and then she doubles down on it because she says puts the 20 on the 10 because she says, "I just called you a the B word." Now, to someone's point
Hmm.
about him looking very not masculine, not assertive, not strong enough, you actually bring up a very good point because there are certain techniques and tactics and strategies that you need to use with people like this to make your boundaries clear. And he didn't have to hit her. He didn't have to go Dominique on her. But what I've had happen to me in the past when I was a very young girl and I got out of order, not to this level, but I got out of order with the guy I was seeing that I very much adored and respected. But I got out of order with him and he checked me so quickly, I never made that mistake again because he let me know that he commands respect and that this is my boundary. What you're not going to do is speak to me in a certain kind of way that makes me feel demeaned. And I got that in that moment. He didn't curse me, he didn't lay his hands on me, but he let me know in no uncertain terms. Those are things that all of us as people, as men, as women, that sometimes we need to know how to do those things and when to use them because in some cases it's not even significant enough. In other words, you'll never see this person again, so you don't have to make that boundary known. You get what I'm saying? You can just walk away. But if we're going to be in relationship, what you're not going to do is call me the N word. You're not going to call me the B word. You're not going to call me out of my name unless it's to say beautiful, lovely woman of God. You're not going to call me anything outside of those things, right?
Mm.
Yes, level.
Well,
JR.
at the end of the day, right? You're right. She has shown to be a hypocrite. She also has double standards. She also has a hot temper. She also emasculated him. The intimacy connection, she chose a position where there was no effort, there was no intimacy, so no connection was formed. Yo, there's so many things now where in that short space of time, she clearly has written this guy off, and she's writing herself off at the same time as well. Because I'm imagining if it wasn't him and it was say a Dominique type of guy, someone new, would she have that same energy for him, or would she be more mindful that this guy may be able to, uh, and flip back on her? Maybe that type of of chaos is what she's used to dealing with. That type of back and forth where she gets mad, calls him a B word, and then he raises up and says, "Hey, you X, Y, and Z," and then they start going back and forth. Brandon isn't gonna do that. He
Mm-mm,
made the
no.
smart decision, and like I said, he comes across as wise beyond his years because he didn't rise to it. He hasn't risen to anything that she's done so far, and that means if they stay together, she's going to continue to get worse because, like you said, she doesn't respect him and she doesn't fear the consequences of when she gets like that. So for me, it's a wrap. Like if they or next week, that would be justified for me. It's gonna get worse if she stays on the show with him.
Or is he going to put his foot down,
She's
JR? Is he going to put his
he's gonna
foot
put
down
his
in a
foot
way?
down. Yeah,
Hmm.
of course, but in a manner which she's going to respect, and I don't think that he can do that. I don't think he's going to do that. To be honest, I don't think he necessarily has to do that. She's shown enough where he can just say, "Okay, see you later. You call me a
That's
B on
true.
TV and done all these other different things. You know
That's
what?
true.
It's time. I'm going home.
I respect
I'm
that.
going back to Florida. You go back to New York. Don't worry about traveling no more. It's a wrap."
It's a wrap. I've seen all I need to see. And to your point, why
Yeah.
Valentine brings up a point. I didn't want to talk about this because my last co-host was from New York City, was from Brooklyn, and we used to kind of go back and forth about what the whole vibe and culture in New York City and that area seems to be from what I know of being there, a few, visiting. I know from talking to him, a lot of New Yorkers like to roast one another. They like to call each other out of their name for for kicks and giggles, if you will. I've never been that type of person. I don't know what people here in Detroit do. I've never liked and believed in roasting. I'm not going to talk about your parents, and you're not going to talk about mine, because that will send me into a blackout rage right there. That thing right there, talking about my parents, my mama did what, my mama so ugly, whatever. You, I'm about to lose my religion and everything to go with it. Okay. Don't do that. But anyway, why Valentine brings up that point. She's from an edgier engagement, and that he's from the South, and this is the man that's so old school style Southern gentleman, that, like he said, when he got this girl pregnant, he married her. He is a true gentleman. He is a true old school, all about the hospitality and the kindness and the gentleness of it all. And he's way, way, way too good for her, in my opinion. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that some, not all, but some New Yorkers feel that a lot of Southern folks are slow,
Yep.
and that's
True.
probably what it is. A feel like he's slow because he's from the South, and and she can't see this fact. Number one, he's committed the way he is. Number one, not because he's stuck in a job he can't get out, but he's got a he's got a young daughter that's 4 years old. Then he's got a
Hmm.
son, and he knows the critical role that a father plays in a son's life, and so he doesn't want to abandon his son. You know, he said his son is his heart.
Mhm.
That's his heart. So
Right.
and so, I mean, she doesn't have other than job, but she does not have any biological or child attachments in New York where she is. So she could actually,
Yep.
basically, not being selfish, but she could move the way he is. And then, I was trying to follow the whole argument and discussion where she said, "What? No, you're not going. I'm not going to live with you before we get married and what have you. What good that would not be an incentive for me to marry you, or you to marry me, what have you." So, I mean, once again, she flip flopped. So, I guess the idea is that if she was to move to the South, or if he was to move to New York, then he would have to get his own place. So basically, he had to start all over again, and what have you. So I don't know what he does for a living, because we don't know what any of these people do for a living. So it's just very
You're right.
interesting dynamic there. Yeah.
You are so right. You are so right. I was so hurt for him. I'm just gonna say this again. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
say this enough.
I mean, you
I
can
was
see the hurt in his face. You can see the hurt in his
I
face.
was hurt. I was hurt for him, but at the same time, I was so proud of him how he kept
Hmm.
his frame as a man. I was proud of him how he kept his frame, how he didn't allow her calling him out of his name when they were alone in that pool room. I mean, certainly there are people in the house, but they were alone in that pool room. He didn't resort to Dominique type behavior, controlling, grabbing her up, trying to put his hands around her neck, shouting, calling her this or that, or cursing her. But then when they got in front of the group, and she just went to like going down the list, like everything that he had confided in her about himself, being vulnerable and open to let her know who he was and his past, everything relationship wise, she brought it up in front of the group and brought it up to demean him specifically and to put him down. You were married, it didn't work. You had a
Mhm.
child out of wedlock. Look at how that turned out. I don't trust you.
Mhm.
And if he had one
Hmm.
moment had turned around and said, "But look at this, you're 43 and no one has ever asked you to marry them. You don't have any children.
Mhm.
Why?" I say all the time, and you can flip it around the other way. I say, you see a guy after a certain age and he's never been married, doesn't have any children, I'm looking at him sideways. So now I'm sure if I was a guy, I could flip that around and he could be looking at her sideways. Like, how in the heck are
Hmm.
you so physically attractive and you've never became Mrs. Anybody? Never became Mrs.
Mhm.
Anybody, don't have the blessing of a child that you're raising, and you're looking at me thinking I'm odd. lady, I think you're real damn odd.
Mm-hmm.
You're real damn
Hmm.
odd. You're real damn odd. And it just goes to
Exactly.
show that your pretty is only on the outside because it damn sure ain't on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
100%. She needs to
I'm
come
sorry,
down off
guys.
that high horse.
Come
It's all right.
down.
She needs to come
Yep.
down off that high horse before she goes back out into the dating market, because this is finished, right? If he has any real sense or backbone, him putting his foot down should look like him calling it quits on this particular relationship. She needs to figure out why she treats people in this way when they say something that she doesn't like. And then she needs to change that, not go into another relationship and have the same thing happen. Where as soon as someone says something that she doesn't like, she starts going off on them and then weaponizing and then, trying to demonize him amongst the group. Yo, it was crazy. So I'm so happy that people were checking her and not allowing her to spin a narrative and try and make it seem like it was him that was the problem. This all stemmed from her changing her mind about what's going to happen if they were to make a go of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's how everything started. He didn't say you're a B. He didn't grab her. He didn't do anything crazy. He literally just said,
No.
"Listen, I'm a bit concerned because now you've changed what we've been discussing over this time."
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. She just went off from there. So, with all of these list of things that she's done subsequent to hearing what he said, that writes her off.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. And she stood on it. Even when other castmates called her out on it, she still tried to justify her mean comments towards him. So, yeah, I'm so glad they pulled her up on it. And I don't think she's going to take it as a teachable moment. I think she's quite happy to stay the same and not have a relationship work at this time. This is on TV. This is in front of his colleagues, his family. His kids could potentially see this someday. So to have her, say these things, I don't think she wants to be a part of his life long term. I think she's kind of hoping that he reacted and then he would be the villain and then she can throw stones and hide her hands and hide behind that pretty privilege that she has.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, JR?
So
Very
yeah,
good. What do you think about last name first made an interesting observation that he has poor boundaries. What do you think about that comment? And do you think he has poor boundaries?
no, I think she has poor self control.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. Very good point. Very good point.
I think she was egging him on. She wanted a reaction out of him, see what, and it didn't land the way she thought it was gonna land.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Because someone in the chat, I think it was last name first, was kind of
Mm-hmm.
talking about that it's men need to do this and that for her. Um, I get what you're saying, but it's not the other person's job to regulate you emotionally, to regulate what
Hmm.
comes out of your mouth. If you're going to be verbally abusive, if you're going to be physically abusive, if you're going to gaslight somebody, it is not the other person's responsibility. And that's why I said that the gentleman friend that I had many years ago, um, he only had to say something to me one time, and we were together, we were friends for decades. He never had to repeat that again, because guess what, I wasn't willing to lose this person, this beautiful gem of a man. I wasn't willing to lose him in my life. And I know that each and every one of us has an option, that you can either be in someone's life or you can be completely out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
it's just not somebody else's job to regulate how you treat them. The choice that I'm going to make nine
Exactly.
times out of 10 with most people is I'm going to remove myself from the abuse, verbal, gaslighting, physical. Um, we keep bumping heads for whatever reason, our energy. Even this goes for girlfriends. I've had this recently on this channel where some very strong supporters of mine, we just kept bumping heads, bumping heads, bumping heads. Okay, fine. I love you, but I will love you from afar. Guess what? I was raised an only child. I'm very good at this thing. Trust me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not new to this. I'm true to this. And ask somebody that used to be on this channel, when's the last time he heard from me? When's the last time he seen me? Now he'll pop in my stuff and look and see what I'm doing. But do you think I care about what he's doing? I don't. I do not. I am very good at compartmentalizing my emotion. Some guys have told me in the past I actually move and operate in that way like a man because once I cut you off, it's a wrap. I don't care. I don't care. I don't hate you. I am totally indifferent to you. I become Switzerland. And that's how you do that thing because what you're not going to do is ruin my life. You're not going to take up my time being this crazy person that doesn't know boundaries. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
getting back to Sienna on this, I just really feel bad for Brendan, but it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing this next week what choices he makes. JR says that he thinks that he should remove himself. Sean, what do you think that if you were in the same predicament, how would you move forward?
Leave. Leave. I mean, I mean, as some women say, I can do bad all by myself. I mean, I ain't
Yeah,
that pressed. I ain't that pressed about you that I mean, I don't have any ties to you, just other than wasted time. That's it. But just leave. You can find another woman. You can find another woman.
absolutely. I think, well, hey, I'm with you on that. I think, in fact, I think it's far easier for a man in this day and age to find another woman,
It
two, three,
is.
four women. It is absolutely the marketplace, the value on men is much higher, even the most mediocre guy compared to
Mm-hmm.
this woman who thinks that she is so beautiful and she is physically stunning. But
Mm-hmm.
trust me, the marketplace will bear him much better, especially after people see how he operated on this show, how kind he was, how gentle he was with her. His DMs are full right this minute.
Yeah.
Right this
Sure.
minute.
Yeah.
Child, what you over there doing?
My phone went off. My phone went off. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, okay. All right. So to wrap things up, a couple last things. Which couple are you guys rooting for? Which couple? Which couples are you rooting for? I definitely have my picks, but Sean, we'll start with you since you over there playing with your phone. Which couple on this show thus far are you rooting for?
I think the actor couple, Millie and Greg,
Okay.
Millie and Greg. I don't see Sandia and Chris. I don't see them. I don't see, and maybe Diamond with the Y with Aaron H. Yeah, I see those two.
Okay.
Diamond and Aaron with H and Millie and Greg.
Yeah, I'm liking also the grown manness of Aaron. You're right. I'm just kind of looking
Yeah.
to see how Diamond moves though, because she's kind of got like a poker face right now. I don't really know how to read her as a woman
Mm-hmm.
if she is feeling him or is she still kind of
Mm-hmm.
concerned about that situation with the wedding ring and the proposal. But yeah, drop down in the chat, guys. If you're watching this on the replay, definitely drop down in the comments section and let us know which one of these couples are you interested. Are you really feeling the as Sean calls them the actor couple? I guess that's Greg and Millie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
are you feeling Diamond and Aaron? What about Shay and Josh? Jr. What are your thoughts? Which couple are you rooting for?
Sure. I'm gonna say I agree. I think Greg and Millie. I think they could potentially go third. Um, I want to say maybe, is it Aaron and Diamond?
Yes, yes, the older
And
the BBW couple. Yeah.
yeah, and I'll say a, a wild card would be Josh and Shay,
Okay.
but
Mhm.
everyone else I'm very doubtful. Like I only maybe see one or two couples lasting because they have the chemistry and everything so much so far. Um, it's still early days, but uh, I only see maybe one or two couples at the
Mhm.
most.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, we started with seven, and one's already been removed for very good reason. So six. I mean, if one, two, or three couples continue along and move forward, I would say that's still not a bad, because marriage is not for black people in this country. That's what they're saying. Don't strike the messenger. I'm just repeating what I heard.
Uh,
Marriage is not for black people. Shine, you may disagree. I don't know. And maybe over in the UK, marriage is still for black people over there. But in this country, marriage is not. I wanted to address something. Last name first. I know you kind of newer to the channel. So you saying that what I said, you construed that as what I was saying about broken marriages and single motherhood as a barometer of success and desirability than not having those things. I'm simply stating what is obvious. She has
mhm.
never been married for whatever reason. Now we can see that physically she's very beautiful, and yet she's never been married. No one's asked her to marry, but yet she wants him to marry. She's talking about, well, I'm not going to go live down in. Leave me alone. Stop that. My cat's acting up. Um, she's talking about, well, I'm not going to go live down in Florida, but yet they have receipts of her. Okay, here's the thing I liked about this show this week. They showed the receipts. Do you guys recall, JR, Sean? They showed the
Yeah.
receipts of her talking to him. It looked like it was a Skype
Mhm.
call or a Zoom call, and
Yeah.
she was saying, well, no, I'm not gonna live with. I mean, no, she was saying no. I'm sorry. She's saying, well, yeah, I would consider that. I would consider
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah. I saw
first
that.
came here
Yeah.
to New York, right? But now they get in the same room, in the same place, in the same city, and now she's
Flip it.
saying, no, I wouldn't do that. Now, who in their right mind that's not a multimillionaire slash billionaire wants to live in New York City with the high cost of living when you can
Phew.
do much better in the South? You can have a house as opposed to an apartment. Like, really? And they're
The
talking about
rat race.
how much she wants to have children. And then plus, let's be fair too, the fact that, like, as JR pointed out, this man already has two children, and they are down there in the South. Their moms aren't going to move up north to accommodate her to New York City. They're not
Mhm.
going to do that. So that's all I was saying. And as far as broken marriages, what's to say that if black people actually do get married, what's to say that there has to be a broken marriage?
It doesn't have to
What's to
be.
say there has to be a broken marriage? I'm just saying, simply, I'm stating the facts. The facts
Mhm.
are she is a woman of 43 years old, never been married. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that she's made those choices, but this is where we're at right now. She's already at a geriatric pregnancy age at 35 or greater, right? So
Mhm.
I'm just calling it what it is. Now, if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but facts are facts. And we got to get off because Sean is getting real sleepy, and I understand it's
No.
getting.
Mm-mm.
Uh, but anyway, what was the last thing we got? We got one more thing. I think next week. Next week they're bringing the family in, guys. What do
Yeah.
you guys think about they're bringing in the family to meet some of these people? And it looks like some of the family, just like on Ready to Love, some of the family are troublemakers. Like they instigating crap.
You want to know what you're getting into? Look at the family.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of it that way.
You want to know what you're
Look
getting
at
into? Look at the family. Because they let people. We learn by example. We learn what we see, and sometimes the painful thing is to unlearn what we've seen.
mm. LC, your grandfather and my dad must somehow be related. and if not, certainly from the same tribe, because that was my dad too. He didn't have to say much, but nobody, I never in my lifetime saw not man nor woman disrespect my dad. And he wasn't a big guy. He wasn't 6'5". He wasn't towering. He was actually kind of medium, as Sean would say. But he
Hey,
carried himself with such a grace and such a presence. Um,
he was a man's
yeah.
man.
Yes, exactly. That's the best way I would describe my dad. He was absolutely a man's man, and nobody would dare disrespect him to his face. Um, but what else? But what were you saying, Jr. About what do you think about next week? Next week and meeting the family, Jr.
Yeah, meeting the family is going to be tricky. I think, for some of the family members, it may be just a foreign concept that these people are dating online in the first place. So I think they're going to want to see who the person is that's kind of captivated the interest of their relative, and maybe grill and how this relationship's going to work or how it's been working so far. And it may lead to some uncomfortable questions and maybe some difficult
Mhm.
situations. Uh, so it's going to be entertaining. Um, may trigger a few people with the way that the family members dismiss some of the connections. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Oh, we got that in common too. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really good, guys. I want to thank you. I said we're gonna stay under 2 hours tonight, but this detailed recap was almost 3 hours long. But I thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hopefully by now you've hit the like button, you've subscribed. You're gonna be ready for next week when we come back for part three, episode three. We thank you so much. We love you for being here. I want to ask real quick. I wanted to say I should have said this at the front end, but I thinking about it now, so I'm going to say it now. I want you guys that are familiar with our Calvin. I want you to just be sure to send out good energy for those of you who don't believe in prayer. For those of you who believe in prayer, I want you to pray for our brother Calvin. Um, and just keep him in your thoughts and prayers and positivity and light. I wish the best for all of you guys going forward this week. That you'll have a great week. Jr., tell them about all the things that you got going on your in your space and how they can find you. Because I don't have my moderators, but tell them what you got going on. What's different from your Instagram versus over on your YouTube.
Okay, on my Instagram channel, JRXTV, I usually have exercise, fitness, content. Occasionally, you may see some motor or things of that nature. On my YouTube, I tend to discuss more relationship aspects, reality, things like that. Want to see Black love succeed, try and reverse the that we keep hearing about, and Aubrey has pointed out about Black marriages and things like that. Want to change that and get more of them. Um, and long lasting, loving marriages, not just for the sake of it, not just for the ceremony, to actually find someone to connect with and build that nuclear family. Yeah, two different channels. Um, Check me out. And obviously, if you do come and take a look at my channel, leave your comments, your feedback, subscribe. Same with Sean's channel and Aubrey, obviously. Like, share, and subscribe what you see. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't take more than 2 seconds to hit the like or subscribe button. Let's build these communities and let's have these conversations.
I know that is so right. That is so right. We'll be back, guys, about 6:30 ish, about 11:30 ish UK time next week. Um, be sure to subscribe right now. Go over and subscribe at JRXTV on his channel. Subscribe on my channel. Be sure to catch us in the chat. And we look forward to seeing you guys again because I think this third episode is gonna. I don't know. I just feel it in my spirit. It's going to be epic. This third episode, it's going to be epic. I just feel it. I really do. Right. So let me see here. I gotta leave off here on a comment that I starred. Somebody had some stuff in here. Ooh, hold on 1 second. Last name first. I love this comment. I'm gonna leave it off on that. And we're gonna shimmy and shake on out of here, guys. See you later. Say goodbye, guys.
Later.
Later. Take care.
JR is just out of it. Then he's gonna talk to me for 2 hours when we sign off. Love you guys. Bye.
Peace.